Hey y'all, good Thursday night. Wanted to pop on here and take you through this night here because I've been getting a lot of requests here. Considering I know some of you may have been awakened by the lightning and thunder and all that, and got a couple warnings here. First of all, we got two severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for about 10 more minutes for parts of Jackson County, and got this new one here that was recently issued for parts of Dade, Walker, and Catoosa counties that runs in effect till midnight. Um, Considering all the questions I've been getting about specific locations and everything else here over the last hour or so, I'm going to go ahead and address all that here and take you through here for at least the next 20, 30 minutes as long as we got these warnings in effect here. So we're going to start from basically east to west. So let's start with these Chattanooga Metro storms. This new warning here is for parts of, again, Dade, Walker, and Catoosa. This thunderstorm has the possibility of producing some hail and some high winds. The hail doesn't look necessarily too large with it, but could see some spots get pennied to perhaps up to quarter size hail, and winds could be 50 to 60 in this as that moves off barely to the east. I mean, this thing is very slowly moving. The latest warning update said it was moving basically stationary with maybe a very slight 5 mile an hour eastward jog. So it's just crawling down Lookout into Flintstone and over in the Rossville. And then we got another strong storm that's also developed just east of this warning in the vicinity of Ringgold. So Ringgold's getting a heavy storm too, even though technically at the moment it's not severe, but it's growing pretty quickly. And then got some heavy storms also across southern Marion County around Nickajack Lake. So from South Pitt into New Hope, Haletown, up to where I am in the Jasper area, I'm hearing some lightning and thunder here as well. The other severe storms in Jackson County at this time, these seem to be on a weakening trend, so that's good. However, there is a pretty nasty little Boeing segment coming out of the Huntsville area here that's produced a lot of lightning, and you can see on the map that's a lot of lightning in that. And the storm top, just before coming on here, I checked this, and this one's got a top of upwards of 50,000 feet. So it's a very tall thunderstorm producing a ton of lightning. So that's going to swing right through northeast Alabama here through the next hour or two, and that's going to produce a lot of heavy rain, very torrential rain, lightning, gusty wind as it moves off to the east. Now, I do want to emphasize here there is pretty much very little to zero tornado threat. I won't really say zero, but it's very, very low here. So I'm not really too concerned about tornadoes. But these thunderstorms can put down a lot of lightning, and not only that, but they can also put down some pretty nasty wind with them as well. So if you get under one of these thunderstorms here during the night, you're going to certainly hear it out there. And not to forget about those of you up in Franklin County, but you got a special weather statement you see out here in blue, basically west of Winchester, so west of downtown, all the way up through Broadview, down to Belvedere and Huntland for this strong storm coming out of Lincoln County. That has the potential, again, for those heavy downpours of lightning and perhaps a little bit of maybe some pea-sized hail. And then up along Interstate 24 and 41 across Coffee County into Grundy County, some thunderstorms up in here, but these are currently non-severe as they move across Manchester and down through Tracy City, Pelham, Hillsboro, the north side of Mont Eagle, heading up towards Colmont and Grutley here within a matter of minutes. And then once you get out here to the east, once you get up here to Cleveland and Pikeville and Athens, areas over in here that had some severe storms earlier this evening, for now at least things have quieted down, but you got some thunderstorms on the way to your areas here. So at the moment, the only severe warnings that I am working at this time are these across North Georgia here, right along the state line here, northern Walker County into Catoosa. Can pretty much take Dade out of this now because the worst of this is east of Dade, but you got more on the way there in the Trenton area. But as far as this one cell is concerned, it's mostly now a Walker, Southern Hamilton, and Catoosa concern. And I will say this storm over Ringgold has intensified quite a bit here over the last little bit, so it wouldn't surprise me here if it keeps intensifying that this might get warned on next, and that would carry it east into the Varnell and Cohutta areas of northern Whitfield County. And then again, the storms again in Jackson have really fallen apart, but then you got this mess back here into Madison County, right around the Huntsville area, back to Decatur, Alabama, and that's going to be sweeping right across Sand Mountain in northeast Alabama here the next couple of hours. And then that will also, if it holds together, move into parts of North Georgia as well. So areas that have not gotten storms. So for example, the Trenton area, Lafayette, Calhoun, Dalton, Chatsworth, Somerville. Pretty good chance you're going to get some storms out of these, and they could be quite heavy. But as far as tornadoes or anything like that, I don't expect that. But definitely some strong gusty winds, a lot of lightning, heavy rain, and in fact, just minutes ago, about 9, 20, 30 minutes ago, the Baylor and Brentwood Academy game was called off about a minute or two early because of these thunderstorms that were moving up into that area at that point, and lightning was detected. So these thunderstorms popped up very, very close to the end of a lot of these games. So that was a big concern coming into tonight. Was given that there are a lot of things going on, especially this time of year. High school, middle school football's back. Got a lot of people outdoors and all that, but thankfully, most of these storms, at least for the majority of us, they held off till towards the end. And thankfully now things are, at least people are now getting settled in and everything else. So that's the good news here. So, but if you do happen to still be outside somewhere, out and about, definitely head inside, because the lightning in these are no joke. I mean, the lightning shows here are pretty intense. So these storms definitely are packing quite a punch here tonight. I do believe as we get after the midnight Central Time hour time frame, I do believe we should start seeing the severe portion of this diminish, and at least these storms get below severe levels. But again, that still remains to be seen if that will still end up be happening. But at the moment, it does. The odds look good of that. But at least for right now, this is what we got. And just got in a new, speaking of severe, just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. You see on this orange box that you just saw pop up on the screen, that's a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just posted. So let me get you some deets on that. That is going to be in effect for parts of Franklin County, actually almost all of Franklin County. The western half of Jackson County, that goes in effect until 11:30. Severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from 6 miles northeast of Fayetteville to near Owens Crossroads to 7 miles southwest of Morgan City, moving east to 25 miles an hour. Hazard is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and it's radar indicated. Locations in the path of that include Huntsville, Scottsboro, Winchester, Gunnersville, Arab, Fayetteville, Moores Mill, Redstone Arsenal, Hazel Green. And that also includes Deckard. It also includes Huntland, High Top, Skyline, Langston, Woodville. Areas of Jackson and Franklin counties also not mentioned in that warning. It includes you guys. So that's a new severe thunderstorm warning that goes in effect until 11:30 for most of Franklin County and the western half of Jackson County. So it doesn't go all the way out here to Sand, and it doesn't quite go all the way out to Swanee or to Mont Eagle here or Sherwood yet, but those storms are heading in y'all's direction. And this other severe storm in northern Walker County, right around Flintstone, moving into Fordo and Fairview and Rossville here, this one has come down in intensity a little bit. So I think we're getting pretty close to almost dropping this warning. It actually expires in about 15 minutes, so I believe it'll likely expire right on time, as this one seems to have really collapsed. But earlier it did peak as it was over Lookout and likely produced some hail, at least based on radar. The hail signature was looking a little mean in that one, so that's why the warning was issued for that cell. But it has come down a little bit in intensity from a severe scale, but it's still very heavy with that lightning and very heavy rain. And again, there could be some peat, marble size hail, but nothing large though anymore. So I think the severe part of that's gone. But got another heavy storm also from downtown Chattanooga up to Signal Mountain, moving into Red Bank and Hickson here in a matter of minutes here. That's moving off to the east as well, roughly 10 to 15 miles an hour. And then up in here, again, Grundy County, Coffee County, you got some good thunderstorms here along and east of 24. From north of Manchester, southeast of there, down through the Pelham, Payne Cove area, and into Tracy City, in Colmont. But those are moving to the east, but at the moment are not severe. So if you're up towards McMinnville, you'll probably get these storms here within the next 30 minutes to an hour if they hold together. And then after that, that could potentially affect those of you up towards Spencer, Dunlap, and then maybe Pikeville down the road. But that's a good ways down the road considering these storms are moving at like 10 to 15. So a lot can change between now and then on that. But here's the other warning, and really probably the most impressive of all the other storms right now. It's this cluster, this line segment that's formed from the southern end of Lynchburg-Moore County down through the Flintville, west of Huntland areas, and down to the east side of Huntsville here. These are all moving from west to east, and let's actually check out the wind mode on these. And nothing too overly crazy, but again, the wind modes you see here, when you got the bright green and the bright red you see here, when they're totally opposite of one another, that shows that indication of some very strong wind, strong west to east wind punching in. So there's definitely going to be some very strong wind gusts in here that at least at the minimum are going to be 40 to 50. But there could be some spots that get in those warnings that could get upwards of 50 to 60. So that's why these severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for the western half of Jackson, most of Franklin County, all the way up to Estill Springs. And also this other warning here that I do believe is on a weaker trend over by Rossville, Fort O. But really the heaviest is actually in North Georgia, seems to be this one over Ringgold that just prompted a special weather statement over there into parts of Whitfield County as well that goes into effect for the next 30 minutes. Again, there could be some small hail, gusty wind, a lot of lightning, very heavy rain there as that moves from west to east. And then there's another storm to watch west of Shelbyville here that will also probably move back into areas of Coffee County and points east from there down the road. So that'll be another one to watch. So I do want to give actually a couple of tracks here. I do want to track part of this line here that's moving through parts of Lincoln County and Madison County here, and it's going to move off to the east. So let's just say if it holds together, I'm going to go ahead and give like a little storm path on it. And again, this is moving east at about 25 miles an hour. So this will be in the Huntland area here within a matter of a couple minutes, so about 10:49. Winchester around 11:08. And then Maud Eagle, Tracy, you're probably looking at between 11:30 and 12:30, so close to the midnight Central Time hour or just before. South Pitt, Kimball, Jasper area looks like about between 11:30, 12:30 as well, I would say. And then the Whitwell area about 12:27 if that holds true. And that's from this line segment you see here that is severe. And then down here to the south, we'll track this one as well because that's going to affect a good chunk of Sand Mountain if that holds together. And that's going to move off to the east here. Again, very similar speed, about 25 miles an hour. So Scottsboro will be in your neighborhood here within the next half hour. You already got some storms there now, but as far as the severe part's concerned, it'll reach you between 11 and 11:30, around 11:17, about 11:23 for a section, about 11:47 for Sylvania, 11:51 in the Henniger area, Rainsville about 11:55, Eider 12:07, and then Mentone about 12:15, and I would say between about midnight and 12:30-ish for the Fort Payne area if that holds together. So that's the track on this line. You see out here to the west that is at least right now is the most severe. And again, these storms here unfortunately are a little more harder to track because if you notice they're a little more messier over here and the movement is a lot more slighter over here. It's almost stationary. So these over here to the east are just not moving much. So the ones you see from New Hope and the lake all the way down through Lookout, downtown Chat, Rossville, Fort O, and Ringgold, these are only moving at like 5 to 10 miles an hour. So it's very difficult to get really a good track on these. And plus, as you see, it's very messy. So unfortunately, can't really give something on that. But what I can tell you for sure is that these are very heavy, very loud, a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, wind a little gusty. Around Ringgold, there may be a little bit of pea-sized hail, but it's nothing large. Again, hail is not really a major thing here, but there is that possibility that some of the storms could produce some hail, but it's not like to the point of damaging your vehicle or anything like that. So we're not talking about that kind of hail. We're talking about if you get any kind of hail, it's usually going to be mostly in that pea to penny, and sometimes in a severe storm, like what you see out to the west here, moving into the Huntland area, that might have some hail that gets up to quarter size. And I also forgot to mention here, there's a flash flood warning, and this is not something I had a chance to talk about much. Unfortunately, because some of these thunderstorms are so slow moving and are trying to train, flash flooding is starting to become a little bit of a concern here. In Jackson County, most of Jackson County is under that flash flood warning for the next 3 hours until 1:30. And in the text here, between 2 and 4 inches of rain have fallen, and an additional amounts of 1 to 2 are possible. So that includes Scottsboro up through Stevenson back to High Top and Skyline. So there's also a risk of flash flooding in addition to the threat of severe weather. And also got a severe thunderstorm warning update for that Walker and Catoosa storm. So let me get an update there. It will actually expire at midnight. So this is going to expire right on schedule. The storm that prompted the warning has weakened below severe levels, as I said a few minutes ago, and no longer poses an immediate threat to life or property. Therefore, this warning will be allowed to expire. So it says, however, gusty winds and torrential rain are still possible with this thunderstorm. So that's good news for those of you in Walker and Catoosa that have that warning technically for another 10 minutes. It will expire right on time, right at midnight Eastern, and it will not be extended. So that's a good sign that there is confidence enough that that thunderstorm has weakened to a point, at least below severe levels. Now, it's still very loud and strong with the lightning and the torrential rain and all that, but at least as far as a severe weather concern is concerned, it's getting below that limit. Remember, in order to have a severe thunderstorm, the wind has to be 58 miles per hour or higher, or the hail must be quarter size or diameter in order for it to be severe. You will never get a severe thunderstorm warning for just lightning. You'll never get it that way. You'll only get a severe thunderstorm warning if the wind gust is 58 miles per hour or higher, or if the hail size is 1 inch in diameter or larger, which would be quarter size or larger. So those are the only two reasons you would get a severe thunderstorm warning in that case. But regardless of which, the lightning, as I said, is just incredible tonight. I mean, if you're in an area where it's not storming, let's say like Cleveland or Chatsworth, Lafayette, even Trenton, Pikeville, Dayton, areas that haven't gotten this stuff yet, you could probably look into the horizon, look out in the distance, and if it's clear enough where you are, you could probably see the lightning from these, because these thunderstorms are so tall. I mean, just looking at the echo tops here, we're running at least a good 40 to 50,000 feet on these storms. So, I mean, I can put a query on these here real quick and show you here and depict them, I should say. And notice 40 to 50,000 foot tops. So that's very tall, very intense, and definitely an indication just how strong these thunderstorms are, especially for this late at night. But remember, we've had a lot of heat buildup today. Temperatures got up into the 90s in many areas, and that leftover heat, despite some evening cloud cover that we did have in some areas before it faded away, despite that, there's just enough heat buildup for these storms to, at least enough leftover heat buildup for these thunderstorms to thrive on and be able to grow on. And there were also some mesoscale boundaries that were left in these areas where storms have managed to pop up as well. So there were some leftover mesoscale boundaries from the earlier cloud cover and such. So that's another reason why we got more strong to severe storms popping up. So we got another one here. We now have a new warning, and it's for that storm in Ringgold I was telling you about a few minutes ago. This one in Ringgold has jumped the severe level criteria and has now been warned on. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning that has now been issued for most of Catoosa County and the north central areas of Whitfield County until 12:30. At 11:53, a severe thunderstorm was located over Ringgold, and it's moving east at only 10 miles an hour. Very, very slow. Hazard is a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and a small hail. It is radar indicated. Locations in the path of this include Dalton, Ringgold, Varnell, Tunnel Hill, Cohutta, Boynton, Indian Springs, Graysville, Georgia, Beaumont, and Red Clay State Park. So, again, this will actually stay north of Dalton. I know Dalton was technically included in that warning, but the north side of town might get brushed by the southern end. But it looks like this is actually going to miss most of Dalton, so correction there. But as far as Varnell and Cohutta are in Whitfield County, that's heading in y'all's direction. So heads up there. Now the storm to the west is still not severe. I will say that much. So this Rossville, Fordo, Chickamauga, Fairview storm, this one's still not severe, but the one to the east over Ringgold is. So there's a little bit of a depiction there. So the actual warning here is this one. The warning you see here to the west is just about to expire. So just wanted to point that out. So where I drew the circle here, the white circle, that's where the current warning really is at this moment, because this one's about to expire to the left. And now back here to the west again. We'll go kind of north to south here. Here's the severe storm approaching Winchester and Deckard. Again, some strong indication of wind in here. Again, no rotation, nothing like that. Just some very gusty wind moving across western Franklin County. And it's getting ready to move right up 64 into Belvedere. If it hadn't yet, it's moving over Huntland now, and it's going to be in the Deckard, Winchester area, and might clip parts of Estill Springs and move over Timms Ford here as well over the next 10 to 20 minutes. And then after that, if it can hold together, then it will move in towards the Suwanee area and also Sherwood and Cowan here down the road. So heads up for you guys. And turns out this flash flood warning in Jackson County has now been upgraded to considerable. So that means, and it says here radar indicated. So that means it actually has been observed. Okay, correction here. Broadcast media is out of the Huntsville area is reporting. It says here that Church Street in Decatur, Alabama was impossible due to high water. So that, again, that's west of Jackson County, but again, this whole warning's been flashed as a considerable flash flood warning. You see in the dark green right there. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but right here from Stevenson down through Scottsboro points west back into the Huntsville, Decatur, Alabama areas, that's been upgraded to a considerable flash flood warning because it's been observed. So again, with all this rain that is falling over these same areas, especially once you get further west, that's going to be a problem because these thunderstorms have kind of parked themselves. They've slowed down and they're not moving all that much. So they're only moving at about like 10 miles an hour. So when you add that into consideration in addition to these severe storms, that's just a bad recipe for some flash flooding. Now, I don't have any reports of any damage, at least so far as like wind or anything like that, which is good. But again, still definitely take these thunderstorms seriously. They are certainly loud, they are certainly noisy, and they're going to pack quite a punch. But again, at the moment, I do not see and I do not expect any kind of tornadoes or anything like that. Also, I do want to put this reminder out here as well. I do have this coverage also live streaming over on my YouTube channel at Chase Bryant Weather. You can watch it over there and subscribe to that for free. So there's multiple different ways you can see this. I also got this going on my personal page. That's also Chase Bryant, but I'm also broadcasting this on YouTube as well. So there's multiple different ways you can be able to see this. And again, I'm also in the process of sharing this feed over to some of the other groups and such, including my weather group as well. So again, I'm making sure that we have multiple different ways that you can be able to see this information and be able to watch, also at the same time. Again, as I said, I've not heard of any kind of major damage reports, but again, these storms are certainly very loud with that very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, gusty wind, and again, there could be some spots that see some small hail and all that, but again, at the moment, I'm not seeing any evidence of anything really too intent with that. But again, at the moment, here's the current situation as I pull out and do the full overview. Here's one strong storm that's going up into Cannon County and western Warren County out of the Coffee County area. So from New Union up the highway into southern Cannon County, got a strong storm there. It's been advised on. Also got some storms around Colmont up through the western end of Grundy County, just west of Altamont there. Moving up into Beersheba. That's another area of strong storms, but non-severe. Now we get into the severe warnings. Here's the big area of very intense thunderstorms here that are producing those possible damaging winds perhaps a little bit of small hail and very heavy rain, lightning about to move into Winchester and Deckard here in a matter of moments, as well as Estill Springs. It's already hitting Huntland now. And then here are the other severe storms around Scottsboro, over towards Woodville, into the Huntsville area, down to Guntersville. And then here's the other severe storm in Catoosa County, covering almost all of Catoosa County, and moving into the northern end of Whitfield County, with the addition of another special weather statement here, which are the blue boxes you see on the map, that are in effect for western Catoosa, northern Walker, and northern Dade County. It's for these storms coming off Sand Mountain here in Jackson County that are moving east in your direction. So, also got some, not to forget about you folks in Whitwell and Crossroads, but you got a pretty good thunderstorm over you now that's developed pretty quickly over the last little bit. Non-severe, but that's heading to the east and getting ready to move up Walton's Ridge here towards 127 and eventually up atop Signal and over into Mowbray Mountain. So heads up around those areas. Again, not a severe storm, but you got some heavy ones moving in. And let's actually check the wind mode on some of these. And again, what you see here, and just kind of to show you what this is here, the velocities. When you see the bright green and you got this bright red here, that's the indication of those very strong winds. And that's what I'm saying. So when you have these totally separate against each other, and then at the same time the brighter they are, that shows the wind mode. So the brighter the green, the brighter the red, the stronger the winds are, the way radar's detecting it. The one thing you don't want to see is red and green meeting against one another, which would mean rotation. Thankfully, I'm not seeing that. We're not seeing the red and green meeting. That's the good thing. So hopefully it continues to stay that way. And so as the winds move toward the radar, they're in the green color. And when the storms move away from the radar site, they're in the red color. That's why they change over high top, because that's where the radar site is. So you get the red that moves away, green move toward, all that stuff. So and if you've watched tornado coverage and all that stuff before, you'll hear that mentioned quite a bit, about winds moving toward and away from the radar and all that. And that's what the colors mean. So red, away, green, toward, all that stuff. But again, I'm not seeing anything really all that impressive over here, though. Speaking of wind, over in the parts of Hamilton County and Catoosa, I know Catoosa's got this warning, but the wind field, at least in this one, does not look all that impressive, but there is the possibility of some small hail, though. So here's the hail core moving over downtown Ringgold, moving into Catoosa Springs as we speak. About to move into Varnell and Cohutta here very shortly. And then up on the Tennessee side, again, here's some of the thunderstorms moving across southern Hamilton County. Red Bank's getting it pretty good down through Hamilton Place. Lookout Valley's getting a good downpour at the moment, so is Haletown. Here's the storms moving up Sand Mountain from Stevenson and Bridgeport here. So Bryant down 73 towards Higdon, moving east into Dade County. Here's Scottsboro down to Section, up the mountain to Section, I should say, west of Woodville. Some very intense thunderstorms here with this severe thunderstorm warning that expires in about 25 minutes for the possibility of some wind and hail. And then here's another strong storm from Albertville that's heading towards the Collinsville area of DeKalb County, Alabama. And then here's this other storm that seems to be strengthening, moving up into Cannon County, up 53 into Cannon County. They're just near and just south of Woodbury. That's moving towards Centertown. So heads up around Centertown, you got a strong storm heading your way in the western end of Warren County. And based on the current projection, this looks like this storm might slide west of McMinnville. It's going to miss Morrison for sure, but it looks like this one might miss McMinnville to the west. But you may get a little bit of rain, and you'll probably hear some thunder and lightning, but I don't think McMinnville's got anything to worry about this one. That's going to stay to your west the way it appears. Again, that could change, but at the moment, that's the way I'm seeing it. Grundy County, again, some very heavy thunderstorms moving over you. Again, it's moving into Altamont now. Eventually into Palmer, Grootley, up into Beersheba, and then eventually, if that holds together, that's going to head towards Cagle Mountain next here within the next half hour. And it might try to clip southern Van Buren as well. But then that'll also be a Bledsoe County storm here in a matter of moments. And then here's this big thunderstorm here over Broadview and Belvedere here, moving into Winchester as we speak. getting ready to move right over the 64 bypass in the square and move down 41A into Cowan, so heads up there. Again, if you guys are hearing or seeing, or you're in these areas or not in these areas or anything like that that are experiencing storms, feel free to post in the comments what you're seeing, of course safely, of course, what you're hearing and all that. And so it gives some good general idea of what it sounds like outside, because I am 100% sure in the areas where you see all the red and the purple and all that stuff on here, I'm sure it's very intense underneath all that. So, and again, where you see pink on radar, a bit of a radar key here. When you see pink on radar, that's usually an indication, in this case, of hail. Now, thankfully, it's not extremely bright to a point of large hail, but there could be some small hail. And of course, when you have dark red, whether it's bright red, scarlet red, dark red, that's also an indication of very heavy rain. So when you have green, that's light, yellow's moderate, but once you get from orange to red to that purple on radar, that tells you right there that it's a pretty strong thunderstorm most of the time when you get in that type of situation there. So just a little bit of an emphasis there on what the radar key is. And there's also, I know it may be kind of small at the top, but there's also a legend up here. And again, right now we're kind of running, based on the look of these storms, we're kind of running up here. So we're running in this red, dark purple kind of range. So again, that just tells you just how strong these thunderstorms are, especially for this late at night here at 11:06 Central, 12:06 a.m. Eastern here, Thursday night and early Friday morning. And again, these storm tops, again, I'll show these. Again, we're running 40 to 50,000 feet high, so that definitely explains why these thunderstorms are as intense as they are, even in areas where they're technically not severe. It really explains it very well, because when you've had temperatures, as I said earlier, in case you may have missed it, when you've had temperatures that have gotten to the 90s, and you also have all the moisture and everything else in place, it doesn't take a whole lot to get big storms to fire up. The reason why we didn't get much during the afternoon and early evening as we are now, and compared to what we're dealing with now, is because we had a very stout cap in the middle layers of the atmosphere that shut everything down from forming. And we had that all afternoon, and really most of the evening, except for some storms that went off up in Ray, Meigs, and McMinn counties. But outside of those areas, the cap stayed firm. But now that it's after sunset and we have a front approaching, a cool front approaching, that front is igniting this. So the front gave the air parcels and stuff, the thunderstorms here, in other words, gave them the lift that's needed to get these storms to pop up, and therefore this is what we're getting here because of that. It's when you have an approaching front, that is able to break that cap open, and that's one thing you got to have. Think of it like, trying to open a can of soda or something. Think of it like trying to open up one of those cans. I mean, if it's firm, it has to take some good force a lot of times to open up certain, cans and stuff. So, that's pretty much how, it works here in the atmosphere. It takes a good force to break open that cap in the mid-levels to allow those air parcels to rise and create these thunderstorms. And as you see here, for sure, it's broken now, area-wide now that it's after sunset and we got the approaching front. So, now, thing is, the reason why I say cool front and not cold front is because this is not bringing any cold air with it. All these storms you see here, while yes, it is cooling down, for tonight, at least as far as temperature, it's not doing anything drastic to the air temperatures. Remember, we're still in late August here, so it's not going to do a whole lot there. We'll have to wait till, late September, October, that time to get a real true fall cold front, unfortunately. But the thing is, when you have any kind of front here in the summertime, especially these slow-moving fronts, they can be problematic here and lead to these thunderstorms and, again, flash flooding, severe weather here as we're dealing with now. So, again, at the moment, we got some, again, to kind of show overview here. Again, we got storms in Grundy County, one moving into Cannon, some strong to severe storms moving up into Winchester and Deckard right now from Huntland, moving right up 64. Scottsboro's getting it pretty hard right now, as well as Hollywood back to Woodville. You see the severe thunderstorm warning update there. And it looks like they took Franklin County out of that warning. So Franklin County, you've been removed from the severe thunderstorm warning. It's now only for southwestern Jackson County now. So Franklin County, your warning's been canceled, but still remains in effect for the Scottsboro area down to Guntersville, which is in Marshall County. And then extending from there, from Scottsboro, it goes up Sand Mountain here. So Henniger, Sylvania, you're getting in on the action now. Eider starting to get in on it. Flat Rock, Higdon, up into Bryant. Coal City and Dade County. So now these storms are leaking into Dade County now. So you haven't had much yet in Trenton, but that's about to change. So Trenton, in a matter of minutes, that's going to change. It's about to pour here very soon. Not severe, though, thankfully. But Wildwood, starting to pour up there. Lookout Valley, Tiftonia, Lookout Mountain on the Tennessee side. Some very heavy rain, some lightning. Downtown Chat's kind of in the middle of different storms here right now. You got this really heavy one moving up 27 and Dayton Boulevard through Red Bank, up Hickson Pike there into Hickson, and this will be approaching Saudi and Lakeside and Harrison as well here momentarily. Got another storm here crossing from Appleton into southern Bradley County there just south of Cleveland. And then we got this other severe storm right over Ringgold, barely moving to the east. I said it's not, this thing's barely even moving, and it should impact the Cohutta and Varnell areas and pass near or just north of Tunnel Hill in parts of Whitfield County here within the next half hour to an hour. But this thing is just taking its time getting there. It's not really in any hurry, unfortunately. This, and just a quick note here, just got word in here, just noticing here behind the scenes that the severe thunderstorm warning in Franklin County has been replaced with a special weather statement, which is the blue polygon you see on the screen there. So even though the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled for Franklin County, you got a special weather statement, which in other words is a strong thunderstorm advisory in another sense for the possibility of some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So, and got another one that was just posted there for Hickson and Red Bank. I'll get to that in just a second. But again, the wind mode up in here does not look all that impressive as much anymore up on the Franklin County side. But again, the winds could still be gusty, maybe some 30 to 40 mile an hour wind, perhaps some pea-sized hail, some very heavy rain. But as far as severe weather is concerned, that's no longer an issue in Franklin County. But let's get over here to this new advisory that was just issued here on this storm moving over Red Bank and Hickson. Again, this has the potential for some wind gusts of up to 40 to 50 miles an hour. And it's moving to the east-northeast. Looks like roughly at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Let me make sure. And it's moving northeast at 15. So that's going to take that storm up into Saudi Daisy here soon, as well as Lakeside, Middle Valley, up towards Sequoia, and up the river here towards Birchwood, perhaps Georgetown if that holds together. So that's where this thunderstorm's heading. And you're probably hearing the thunder also in Dunlap because you got a strong thunderstorm here that's developing here over the Cartwright area as well as Doss, moving right up 28 into Dunlap here. So heads up in Dunlap because that's on your doorstep here in a matter of minutes. And then again, Grundy County here along Highway 56 from Colmont up through Altamont here. Very heavy rain, a lot of lightning with this, moving into Beersheba and Savage Gulf at this time. Again, Cagle, you're next up to see this, so that's heading your way next. Here's the other strong storm, south of Woodbury in southern Cannon County, heading up towards Iconium and Centertown here, Bratcher's Crossroads here west of McMinnville. And then some other storms that will move into Coffee County from Marshall and Bedford County here within the hour. And back out here to the east, nothing much. So really, again, as I said, we're only working 2 severe thunderstorm warnings at this time. Southwestern Jackson County and Catoosa into Whitfield County. So those are the only areas right now that have severe warnings. And not to forget, also the flash flood warning that's in effect for most of Jackson County for the next 2 hours here until 1:30 in the morning here because of all the rain that's been falling. So hopefully, as we get past midnight here, at least the hope is we're hoping. One thing we can all hope for is hopefully the severe threat will diminish. That's the hope. As we get well past midnight here and everything else, and these storms kind of start raining themselves out a little bit. But in the meantime, we still got these strong storms here, and as long as we got these warnings in effect here, I'm gonna stay on here, until I see there's a reason to get off here. But I wanted to pop on here because the reason is because I know, given that it's nighttime, and I know a lot of you may have storm anxiety and get frightened in these kind of situations. And again, I was in that same situation as you when I was a kid growing up. Storms used to absolute terrify me when I was a kid. I mean, any sound of lightning or thunder, it would scare me to death. But what I did was, after a few years, I turned that into a passion, into what I have now. And, because growing up as a child, I went through a lot of rough, severe weather, including the April 27th, 2011 super outbreak. Going through that, and everything else that came along with that time, it helped me grow and, eventually overcome that fear. So I say I totally understand those of you that do have storm anxiety, and just the sheer sound of thunder and lightning can scare you. But I want to reassure you that there is no threat of a tornado here. No threat of a tornado here. Again, I like putting reminders out here just to help with that. All these are heavy, just strong, heavy August thunderstorms that have a lot of lightning, heavy rain, strong gusty wind. But from a tornadic scale, I'm not seeing that at this time. At least from from this event. If that changes, of course, I will let you know of that. The good thing here is, considering we're live here, if any sudden rotation somehow were to pop up somewhere, I can jump on that very quickly. So that's the reassuring thing I do want to reassure you of. So while I don't expect tornadoes here, I do want to say that you are in good hands. So just wanted to get that out of the way there. Again, at the moment, looks like we got another special weather statement that was just posted for Grundy County. I'm betting it's for this storm coming out of Franklin. Let me double check. No, it's for this one here coming up into Beersheba from Altamont. So this is for the possibility of some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Again, it's moving up into Beersheba as we speak, and then that's going to head into parts of southern Van Buren, into Sequatchie County there around Cagle here momentarily. But again, you got another strong thunderstorm over Winchester that's on its heels, moving to the north and east as well. So again, there's a little bit more behind that. But the good thing here is, once you get west of Interstate 65 here, which is right in the middle part of the screen right here, and I'll draw it on the map here for you just so you can see that. This is I-65 right here. Notice you get west, there's nothing back here. There's nothing out towards Memphis. There's nothing up to Nashville. There's nothing west of this that's going to be a factor here. This is it. So all the storminess you see in the tri-state area here right now, this is it. Once we get past this last area you see back here around the Huntsville area up to east of Columbia here, once that gets through, that's it. I mean, then things will calm down as we get into Friday morning here. And Friday's actually shaping up to be a pretty good day as far as weather is concerned. And that'll be great news for the games tomorrow night. And the humidity may actually be a little bit lower, too, for those games, by the way. So that'll be a really good Friday evening to go out and support your favorite team and everything tomorrow night. But or any other plans that you might have, movie night, fishing, during the day or anything like that. Friday looks to be a pretty good day for that, for all those activities. But we just got to get through this here first. We just get through these storms here tonight first, and then we'll enjoy a nice Friday and what looks to be also a nice weekend as well. Back to thunderstorm coverage here. Didn't mean to get sidetracked there, but we got some Got some other thunderstorms here. Here's the update on this one that's moving up into Dunlap. Again, it's a strong storm, but non-severe, but it's got quite a bit of lightning and some heavy rain. I can hear the thunder from these storms outside. You can hear it on this mic, but above me I can hear the thunder, and I'm about 20, 30 miles away from these storms, and I can hear the thunder. So that just tells you just how strong these storms are when you're hearing thunder from that far of a distance. So again, that's moving off to the north and east, and all these are all moving east to northeast, and they vary quite a bit in speed. So that's the way I'm seeing it here. So again, we'll recap this here. Again, Guntersville Lake, Marshall County, some very heavy storms over you, up through Langston section, and we'll kind of go up the line here. There's Woodville, Pleasant Grove, Scottsboro, so this is Jackson County, Sand Mountain basically, DeKalb County, Alabama, Dutton, Powell, Sylvania, Henniger, Hollywood, Pisgah, all in the middle of this, Flat Rock, up through Schrader, Higdon, Bryant area, Stevenson. You're on the back side of this, but it's going to rain again there in a matter of minutes. And then Bridgeport, got a downpour heading your way, probably some lightning. And then from Shiloh up through the Davis community of Dade County, there on top of the Dade County side of Sand Mountain, there along 301, up towards Coal City, New Home area, New England, now moving into Trenton. So Trenton, you haven't had much yet, but it's now moving in now. So, and also right up I-59 to Sligo Road, and where the outdoor movie theater is out there, and to Wildwood. Very heavy rain and storms over Lookout, extending into Fort O, Rossville, over into Ringgold. Again, Ringgold's still getting it pretty hard. And let me check the rain rate on this, and yeah, this is definitely something. 2 to 3 inches here, and that's all within the past hour. That's almost 3 inches of rain in 1 hour in one location there on the northwest side of Ringgold, up there by the intersection of Battlefield Parkway there in 41. That's a lot of rain. So flash flooding, I think, is increasing in that area. So heads up there in the Ringgold area. It's not only because you got the severe thunderstorm, but I do believe the flash flooding threat's increasing because that storm is just not moving anywhere. I mean, if you put on a loop here, yeah, it's just not moving. I mean, you see right there. Yeah. So unfortunately, these thunderstorms are deciding to put on park, unfortunately, and that's creating some high water issues here. And I got another strong storm in Bradley County. No warning on this, but this could have some small hail as that moves up to the east-northeast. So this one's heading up towards Cleveland. So you're probably hearing the thunder in Cleveland now as this is heading your way. So heads up as this moves right up Highway 60 there into the Cleveland area and up towards the bypass in downtown. And in Polk County, I know those of you in Polk County haven't seen much yet around Ocoee and Benton Points East, but this is also heading your way. Again, Saudi down through Hickson in the lake site, some heavy storms in your area. It's moving out of Red Bank for now and also downtown Chat, but you got more on the way coming in from the west here in the next couple of hours. And here's the other thunderstorm. New scan on this. Southern Sequatchie County moving up East Valley and 28 into the south side of Dunlap here. Probably going to go up towards Lewis Chapel as well, considering it's making a bit more of a right turn. And then here's the other. Here's another strong storm. That I've been monitoring as well. Moving out of Altamont, moving into Beersheba and Savage Gulf, moving out of Grutley now. This one might clip Irving College. So Irving College in southern Warren County, you'll probably get the northern end of this. And this may also brush parts of southern Van Buren County. But this seems to be aimed towards the Cagle area. And again, the north side of this will probably get up towards Fall Creek Falls down the road. Here's the other storm. Again, this one is passing west of the city of McMinnville and looks to be mainly affecting areas between Woodbury and Centertown there along Highway 70 south. But again, no warning on that, but just wanted to note it. So as I said, the only severe warnings we have on the board here as a reminder here, the only severe thunderstorm warnings we have right now is this one for Jackson County for Scottsboro that expires in about 5 minutes. And the way it's looking, considering the worst of that's moving east of the warned area, at least as far as the severe part is, it probably won't be, you know, extended longer, at least in those areas. But I would not be surprised here in about 5 minutes if the wind looks impressive that they might expand this. Now, looking on the wind mode here, making sure we don't have any rotation here, considering, you know, Sand Mountain's history of surprise spin ups. The red and green have been trying to meet over here, so we'll have to watch that carefully. But at the moment, it's very broad, so not too overly worried at the moment, so that's good. But that is definitely a strong storm with a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, some gusty wind. Could be 40 to 50 mile an hour wind in that as it moves right across the mountain from Fort Payne up north and across the mountain there and up towards Higdon and Bryant there. And this cell also in Cleveland has just warranted a special weather statement for the possibility of some wind and hail, as I was showing you earlier. So right over McDonald, Wildwood Lake, heading up into the city of Cleveland as we speak. And here's the update on the Franklin County storm. This one, thankfully, is very disorganized now. Definitely not severe as it was earlier. It's just a heavy storm moving over Swanee and Sherwood as well as Cowan now. Again, as I said, it's not a severe storm, but it's definitely a very intense one as that moves off from west to east. So I do want to make a point of that. Again, like I say, a lot of lightning with these storms. That's one thing I can say. That the electrical show is something else. Also, as I said, if you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, let me know what's going on in your town. Let me know what kind of reports you got, and I'll try to read a few of them here. Let's see here. Thundering in Dunlap. Scottsboro's getting slammed. More lightning and thunder, lots of rain in Catoosa. The storm in Trenton is heading east in your area towards Fort Rossville. Polk County, Georgia. Yes, you do have strong storms heading y'all's way, down that way. Ringgold is getting hit pretty hard. Smithville, you guys are good up there. Most of the storms are mainly heading down towards Chattanooga and points south, so at least towards the state line and stuff, so you're good up there. Again, Centertown, just a heavy storm in your area. And major lightning show in Rising Fawn. Thundering in the distance. Sirens going off in Scottsboro near Goose Pond. And that's probably because you have a severe thunderstorm warning there. And the sirens in the counties that may have sirens, you may hear them go off in areas because when there's a severe thunderstorm warning issued. So that's something to take note of. But at the moment, there's no tornado warning in northeast Alabama. Just some severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. And speaking of severe thunderstorm warnings here, I actually got to get back to this here. I have to get off the comments here for a second because we got these two new warnings that just got posted. And they cover pretty much all of DeKalb County, Alabama here. So let's start with the one in Fort Payne. That goes until 12:30. Severe thunderstorm was located over Geraldine or 11 miles east of Gunnersville, moving east at 40. 60 mile an hour wind gusts and nickel size hail. Locations in the path of that include Fort Payne, Rainsville, Crossville, Alabama, Fife, Geraldine, Pine Ridge, Lakeview, Hopewell, Colbrand, and Guest. And the other warning that covers, again, most of Sand Mountain's covered in these severe thunderstorm warnings, also in effect until 12:30. At 11:27, a severe thunderstorm was located over section or near Scottsboro, moving east at 10, very slow. Locations in the path of that also include Scottsboro, Rainsville, Henniger, Sylvania, Powell, Section, Eider, Pisgah, and Valley Ed. So again, pretty much most of northeast Alabama has been blanketed under new severe thunderstorm warnings until 12:30, and that's in addition to the Catoosa storm, and that one goes to that storm has a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect, and actually just expired just now here as of 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern. So we'll see if this gets extended or just downgraded to an advisory, but we'll find out here in a couple minutes. But Not seeing anything really jumping out on the wind side of things, but boy, that rain and lightning is sure torrential. I mean, just based on all the colors there. Again, I said Ringgold, Fordo, y'all are getting it pretty hard right now. And let's make sure this Northeast Alabama cluster here doesn't have any kind of like rotation or anything like that. Thankfully, not seeing it. Reds and greens still staying separated from one another, so that's great. Again, when you got the red, and again, the brighter the red, the brighter the green, that means the stronger the wind. So again, some 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts here, crossing over Sand Mountain, and get ready to move down towards the I-59 corridor from Collinsville and Fort Payne north, up through Valley Head, Hammondville, Ider, possibly Rising Fawn. So Rising Fawn there in southern Dade County, this is your heads up, heading your way next. And if this holds together, this is going to head towards Walker County and Chattooga County next. So I bring up these warnings here. This severe thunderstorm complex over Sand Mountain, because it's heading into North Georgia next up. So really from Dade and Walker, Catoosa, Whitfield, Murray south down to Summerville and Calhoun, y'all are next in line to see this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to track a good large portion of this, and it may look a little funky here on the map, but this is what I'm seeing here right now, at least on estimated timing. Again, this may be off a little bit because it's only moving at like 10 miles an hour, but I kind of want to at least give some general estimates here. So Ider here within the next 5 to 10 minutes around 11:38. Rainsville just before midnight. In fact, it's probably over you almost right now. Valiant, Hammondville area about 12:50. About 2:55 Eastern Time in the Lafayette area. About 3:36 in the Lyerly, Somerville area. Again, as we get down this list here, there's actually a lot more uncertainty because it's only moving at 10 miles an hour, and a lot's going to change after that. So really, so to give kind of more of a general time scope for North Georgia here, you're really looking at between now, let's just say between now and 3-4 a.m. is when all this is going to sweep across your area. Now on the Tennessee side, the thunderstorms on the Tennessee side you see here are more scattered. These are more scattered up here. And the fact that you see all this down in here growing the way it is, that may be what it will probably do, is it may cut off the inflow from a lot of these storms up here on the Tennessee side and keep those from getting too severe. And that's probably a reason why a lot of these here to the west have weakened. That's probably why this one in Franklin weakened so fast. Franklin County weakened so fast because it was getting choked off by these more severe storms developing to the south. So it does appear here, the way things are trending, that the main severe risk is going to be mostly for northeast Alabama, so really east of Scottsboro, east of 72, up Sand Mountain to DeKalb County, Alabama, points east across North Georgia. That and the area I'm talking about is this zone right here. So there you go. And there's a new warning in Catoosa and Whitfield, just as I mentioned that. So this would be the main zone right here where I drew, where I'd be more concerned about severe storms for the next hour to 2 to 3 hours or so right here. Now further north, can't roll out an isolated storm getting a little rogue and maybe trying to turn severe, but most of these up here are more scattered and they shouldn't be as severe. Nonetheless, they're pretty strong though. So let me get you the latest information here on this new warning that was pretty much reissued for all of Catoosa and most of the northwestern half of Whitfield. Now this one does include Dalton, so Dalton is actually included in this warning. This says here at 12:33, a severe thunderstorm was located over Ringgold, moving east at 10 miles an hour. 60 mile an hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. Radar indicated. Locations in the path of this include Dalton, Ringgold, Fort O, Varnell, Tunnel Hill, Cohutta, Indian Springs, Rocky Face, Graysville, Blue Spring, Boynton, Beaumont, and Red Clay State Park. So that's for this severe storm that continues to just sit and regenerate right over the Ringgold area. So I said the flood threat's really increasing in that, and I think if I had to say which area probably has the most concern for flash flooding, it's Catoosa County. And as far as a severe weather is concerned, as far as wind damage potential is concerned, I believe the higher potential for wind damage right now, at least straight line wind damage, is across areas of DeKalb County, Alabama, from Fort Payne up to Henniger and east towards Valley Head and Mentone. And then again, that's going to slide into parts of Walker and Chattooga next. So heads up in those areas, Chattooga County, that is. And now here's a flash flood warning that's been introduced for parts of Walker and Catoosa. So just as I mentioned the flash flooding threat, we got a flash flood warning now. Let's see here. Between 2, and then this goes in effect until 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. This is going to be a flash flood warning for all of Catoosa County, northeastern Dade, and north central Walker. At 12:35, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 2 and 2.5 inches of rain have fallen, and additional amounts of 1 to 2 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is either ongoing or expected to begin shortly. And again, this warning and some locations that will experience flash flooding include Ringgold, Fort O, Rossville, Lookout Mountain, Chattanooga Valley, Flintstone, Boynton, Graysville, Georgia, Indian Spring, Lakeview, Fairview, and Wildwood. So again, flash flood warning now for parts of Walker, Catoosa. New severe thunderstorm warning also for Whitfield and Catoosa. And then we got the other severe storms here moving across Jackson and DeKalb counties in northeast Alabama that definitely have the higher severe potential at this time. And what I'll do is I'll measure some of these winds here. And we're showing some 50 to 60 up in here between Pisgah and Henniger and Ider here. So heads up here along I-59. This is heading right in your area. And also on the green here, seeing 21 toward the radar and about 40 away. So add the 40 and 20 approximately. And you got 60 mile an hour wind gusts here moving down into the Fort Payne area and down into Collinsville as well. So that'll climb up towards Little River Canyon and up towards the Mentone area here down the road. And then also got a strong area of wind moving right over Trenton. Not severe, but a noticeable little area of a gusty wind. Looks like some 30 to 40 in that, and yes, definitely seeing some 30s and 40s there. And then the other severe storm in Catoosa there over Ringgold still has some strong wind gusts in it as well. Again, could be 50 to 60 in that. Also some small hail potential there too. And that goes all the way back through Dade County down to Sand Mountains. As I said, flooding's becoming a major concern here in the southern Chattanooga metro here on the Georgia side. And then up here around Cleveland, storms are moving into Cleveland now. Up from areas of Wildwood Lake and McDonald here, moving right up into the city here. So right up Highway 60 through the south side. There's the bypass out there on the outside part of town. 64-74 corridor runs right through here. Downtown, that's Inman Street. So right into downtown Cleveland, that's moving up in your area now. Again, possibly some gusty winds, some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. And then that'll move up towards Tasso, Charleston, Calhoun, Tennessee, eventually towards Ocoee next. And might move into Benton, but it does appear it looks like the rest of Polk County will probably miss out on this. Here's the other strong storm moving over Saudi. This could have some hail in it moving over Saudi. Also Lake Site, some very heavy rain and lightning moving in. Harrison, Red Bank, Hickson, y'all are on the backside of this, but it's still pretty heavy there. Again, Middle Valley's also getting it pretty good as well. Sequoia now getting in on this. Here's the other storm in Sequatchie County, passing east of the city of Dunlap now, moving on top of the mountain here over Lewis Chapel, and moving east from there towards Flat Top Mountain, and that could catch Sale Creek and Bakewell here in a matter of minutes. Not severe, but definitely a pretty heavy storm there. Here's the storm moving out of Grundy County into the Cagle area of northern Sequatchie County up there from the 399 junction up towards the Highway 8 intersection. And the northern edge of this will probably clip into southern Van Buren. And what was a strong thunderstorm in Cannon County has now fallen apart. It's just a shower now, just a rain shower over Centertown. So that one can be X'd. In other words, nothing to worry about there anymore. So things have really fizzled up here in this northern end. So, and also this thunderstorm in Franklin County, it may be kind of hard to tell on here, but notice this little green line this thing is sending out. What that is that's an outflow boundary. So whereas just circled right there, there's a little green squiggly line right here moving across Tracy City and Colmont down through the Fiery Gizzard. That is actually what's called a gust front. So it's a gust front from these dying storms coming out of Franklin County up into Mont Eagle, and that outflow is moving east. So there is a possibility that that outflow itself might cause additional storms to form down the road here. Whitwell, Dunlap into the Squatchy Valley, but it remains to be seen if additional ones will fire. But there is a possibility with that gust front moving east that at the minimum you'll probably get a quick brief gust of wind or so, but at the same time it may also pop up an additional storm or two. We'll just have to wait and see, but that's the situation there. So again, the storms on the Tennessee side are more scattered, and most of them, and the vast majority of them, and all of them right now, are non-severe. Again, the severe stuff right now is on the Alabama and Georgia side at this time. So that's really the main area of focus here, because that's where all the severe storms are ongoing, and also the flash flooding threat as well. Again, winds are still looking pretty intense here. Here's this heavy area of wind about to move right into Pine Ridge and Fort Payne. Again, remember, severe level's about 58, so we're getting pretty close to that here. So again, 50 to 60 mile an hour wind getting right across I-59. So if you're out ahead of these storms and you haven't had anything yet in places like Dalton and Lafayette, Calhoun, Georgia, Chatsworth, down to Summerville, even up to Rising Fawn and Dade County, you might want to, just out of precaution, charge your devices up while you can, because considering how nasty these storms are out here to the west with all that lightning and wind and rain, it's not going to take much for power to go out. So you might want to go ahead and charge up your devices here out here across the southern half of Dade into southern Walker, parts of Whitfield, Murray, down into Gordon and Chattooga County here, because you got time now to go ahead and charge up those devices just to be on the safe side, because those are some very intense severe thunderstorms there that have that potential, again, for those damaging winds as they move from west to east. Again, it's not a tornadic wind. I want to make that point clear. It's not a tornadic wind. What it is a straight west to east, straight line wind that can knock down trees, that can knock down power lines, and all that stuff. I mean, many times this summer we have seen what straight line winds can do. Just what these summertime downburst straight line winds can do. So, as I said, they knock down trees, they cause power outages. You definitely want to take these seriously. So that's what I'm saying. Definitely take it seriously here across northwest Georgia and DeKalb County, Alabama here, because it's rough. You get underneath this. This is pretty nasty in here. Definitely rough for sure. But as far as tornadoes are concerned, I don't see that. And in fact, believe it or not, this gust front up here, moving across parts of Marion and Grundy counties here, it's actually picking up pretty well here on the velocity. So, again, the wind's not really strong with it. Maybe up to 20 mile an hour gusts in here. Very little rain, though. The rain's on the back side here. But you may notice a brief little area of wind as that moves into the Squatchy Valley here very soon. And, again, there's really just nothing much left of the storm that was severe in Franklin earlier. I mean, that thing just continues to slowly fall apart. And this one that was up by Centertown and south of Woodbury earlier, that one is faded out as well. So I do believe we are slowly heading in the right direction here on the Tennessee side from severe weather. So I won't say 100% all clear yet, but I feel like at least in Middle and East Tennessee we're heading in the right direction on that side. But flip on to the Alabama and Georgia side, that's a little different, unfortunately, for those of us on the Alabama and Georgia side. And the reason why I say that is because we got these severe storms and they're merging into one line. So while I can go ahead, and I will say is I can go ahead, though, and clear Highway 72. So if you are from Scottsboro up through Stevenson, Bridgeport, even Brighton, Higdon up here, you're on the back side of this now, and I don't see any additional worries for you. And in fact, even if you're in an area that is experiencing, you know, um, thunderstorms. I don't see a reason to stay up. I mean, if you want to go to bed, that's perfectly fine. I said that's totally up to you. If you want to stay up and watch this through, that's fine too. I mean, that's your choice. That's up to you. Considering I don't see any threat of tornadoes, I don't see any real worry. It's just that, unfortunately, with all this lightning going on, it's definitely a mess. So that's really what these are. These are just some messy, loud thunderstorms here in the middle of the night, and that are just aren't moving fast. I mean, they're only moving at like 10 miles an hour, which is why the flooding is such a concern in these areas that are getting them. Again, Trenton getting it pretty good right now. Some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning there. Cloudland Canyon up through the Hinkles area, Covenant College, down through the Flintstone area into Chickamauga, the Battlefield, east into Boynton and Ringgold. Again, same areas, still getting it over and over again. And as I said, the flood threat's really increasing. So it would not surprise me here if this trend continues that this flash flood warning gets upgraded to considerable. So I would not be surprised here if this trend continues that flash flood warning may get upgraded. And then pointies from there. Again, Dalton, you haven't had anything yet, but this is all heading in your direction. It's just going to take a while for it to get there. And Chatsworth, same thing. I know some of y'all here to the east have been waiting quite a bit to see if you can get some thunderstorms out of it, but it's just going to take its time getting there because these aren't moving very fast. And then again up here, checking on these new scans on the Tennessee side of the storms. Got some good rain in Ocoee. And again, Cleveland's getting it pretty good right now. Some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, some gusty wind along the leading edge. They're moving across the city here, moving up through Lee University and end up towards the north side of town, up where the mall and all that are. And then points west across Mahan Gap Road into Hamilton County, into Lakeside, Snow Hill, some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. Also Middle Valley. Middle Valley, you're kind of on the backside of it now. At least from this storm you are. You're on the backside of it now. And then Soddy Daisy, raining pretty heavily there based on radar. And then also Lewis Chapel area of eastern Squatchy County. Strong storm there, moving up over Flat Top Mountain and Hendon. Good shower ongoing in the Dunlap area. Here's the thunderstorm moving over Cagle Mountain as the radar scan refreshes. Again, that storm seems to be weakening. And nothing going on as you get up into Coffee County, Warren, Van Buren, even most of Bledsoe, Ray, Meigs, and up into Crossville and points north from there. Again, I just don't see a whole lot happening the further north you go. So, really, the further north you go on the Tennessee side, the storm risk will decrease. I mean, the farther north you are, it's lower and more isolated. It's more widespread once you get south of Chattanooga here. You know, from Sand Mountain in northeast Alabama all the way up into northwest Georgia here. So that's the area that needs to watch for not only the strong to severe storms especially, but also the possibility of flash flooding. So let's actually quickly check out some of these rainfall amounts that we've seen so far. That's very impressive here where it is stormed. 1 to 2 inches, and most of this all falling within less than an hour. So very heavy rain. And there's an area of 2 to 3 inches here. That's right over the Scottsboro area as those thunderstorms have moved overhead. They're dropping a good 1 to 3 inches of rain within about an hour's time, and that explains why Jackson County's under that flash flood warning. And that was actually upgraded to considerable because of what's been going on out in the Huntsville area. And then also some very impressive rainfall amounts across parts of Walker and Catoosa counties, again showing mostly about 2 to 3 inches in most spots, including a 4-inch amount here on the northwest side of Ringgold. So just northwest of downtown Ringgold showing 4 inches. Again, this is radar estimates, so again, gauges may the rain gauges may be a little less or a little more than these, but it just shows right here that lots of rain is falling. And I'm also noticing another hot spot here over the Nickajack Dam in southern Marion County, showing about 2.5 inches of rain that's fallen there. But ironically enough, you only go about let's go about 5 miles north towards the north side of Jasper up by Pryor Cove, and there's been barely any rain. So you go from 2.5 inches of rain to almost nothing by the time you get up to Little Squatchy and Pryor Cove there in Jasper, just within a 5-6 mile radius. That just goes to show you these summertime storms, how random they are. I mean, one area gets a big soaking, and then just down the road, hardly anything. It's crazy how that works, but that's really summertime for you. And speaking of thunderstorms, I'm already hearing thunder myself here again as these thunderstorms continue across our area. And again, the outflow boundary here is probably going to be move from west to east across southern Tennessee, and that might wind up popping up more storms with time. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, this stuff you see back here to the west around Fayetteville and Huntsville, that's spreading to east. This is weakening quite a bit, and it does seem like it's trying to fade out, so that's encouraging to see. So hopefully we'll continue shrinking all this out here to the west, so that way that'll help. So what I will do here is go ahead and real quick give some all clears, because I feel confident enough that nothing much is going to change. If you are along and west of 72 in Jackson County, from Scottsboro up to Stevenson, Bridgeport, points west to Skyline, Woodville, High Top, you're good. Marion County, you're good. Squatchy, Bledsoe, even Hamilton, Ray County, Van Buren, Grundy, Warren, including you McMinnville as well, you're good there. Also into Coffee County, Franklin, Cannon County, Smithville, Sparta, Spencer, Crossville, you're good. So really most of the Tennessee side from a severe weather scale, and I'm talking about severe weather, not from individual thunderstorms, but from the threat of severe weather. So just want to give some all clears there real fast, so while we have it here. So at the moment, we're down to 2 flash flood warnings and 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. The two severe thunderstorm warnings are in DeKalb County, Alabama, basically covering the whole county, and most of and really the southern half of Sand Mountain. And then the other warning, the third warning, is this one in Catoosa, moving into western Whitfield. But as you see here, and I'll put it all on a loop, and we'll do the overview when I show the loop. You notice how these to the west have moved, but notice the ones to the east here, across DeKalb County, Alabama, and northwest Georgia. These things have barely moved. They have not moved a whole lot. So even though these are all trying to congeal into one line, they're just not moving. There's just not a lot of forcing, is what's being noted here. There's just not a lot of forcing to speed these up. So therefore, it's going to keep dumping a lot of rain over the same areas, and therefore increase the potential for flash flooding. So now we got a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just been issued for parts of southern Dade, Chattooga, and southwestern Walker County. So that is for the severe storms that are coming out of Sand Mountain. So gave you the heads up here about 20-ish minutes ago, and now you got a severe thunderstorm warning there from Lafayette and points south to Summerville and Tryon, including the rising falling area as well of Dade County. And this goes in effect until 1:30 Eastern. At 12:53 a.m. Eastern, a severe thunderstorm was located over Hammondville, Alabama, or 8 miles north of Fort Payne. It's moving east at 35 miles an hour. Hazard is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and a nickel-sized hail. It is radar indicated. Locations that are in the path of this include Summerville, Tryon, Lafayette, Menlo, Center Post, Cloudland, Barryton, and James Floyd State Park. So that's a new severe thunderstorm warning for the following areas: southwestern Walker County, southwestern Dade County, in northern Chattooga County in northwest Georgia until 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 12:30 a.m. Central Time. And that's for the possibility, again, of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail, which is smaller than a quarter. So that's technically not severe, but the wind part is. The 50 to 60-mile-an-hour wind part is severe. So that's why we have the warning here, because the wind mode in this meets the severe criteria. And I will say this other storm also, not to forget, to be honest, this other storm moving across Lookout Mountain from Dayton to Walker towards Chickamauga, the wind mode in this has also picked up a little bit recently. So we'll have to watch this and see if this gets warned on here down the road as well, because it's starting to increase a little bit. Again, like I say, no tornadoes here, but the wind mode, at least the overall straight line wind mode, are definitely increasing. So we'll have to watch and see if that requires more severe thunderstorm warnings. But again, it's heading right back into the same areas that have been getting all this heavy rain over and over again. So that's where that's going. It's going to move right back into, right back into Walker, into Catoosa, and then eventually, with time, this will probably make it to Dalton here within the hour or two. And then eventually Calhoun, this will be in your area as well within the next hour or so. Again, checking some of the speed on these. It does appear this line segment, in DeKalb County, Alabama, has actually moved a little bit faster. So we'll just see where this goes from here, and I'll actually put a fresh track on it. And again, that's moving off to the east. And in fact, I'll change that up and put that at 35 based on the new warning. And we'll zoom that in, and that way I can get some more communities on here. So Valley Head right now, Lyerly, Somerville area here around just before 1:30. Around 1:30 in Lafayette, even though you already got some storms overhead, but the part that's warned on coming out of Alabama here will be in your area around 1:30 if it holds together, and down towards Resaca about 2:05, Calhoun area about 2:08, 2:18 Chatsworth, and then Ranger around 2:30. And that's for this line segment you see here in Northeast Al, and then right here to the north and east of this, you got these storms here moving across the Chickamauga area, so I'll go ahead and track that too as these move off to the east. Now let me actually go ahead and make sure that I have the right speed on this. Okay, that's moving east at 10, so I'm going to have to adjust that track. So I want to put that down to about 10. So there we go. So let me go ahead and redraw that real fast. There we go. So that'll be around Tunnel Hill about 1:53 Eastern, about 2:18 in Varnell, about 2:20 in Dalton, 3:07 for Eton, and then in the Chatsworth area around 3:13. Again, these are estimated times, but I do think the storms will be in those areas a lot sooner than that. But again, if it were to keep moving at only 10 miles an hour, that's when it would get in those areas. Also got a new advisory here for these storms coming up out of Cleveland. Again, these are non-severe, but they're definitely heavy. So I'll go ahead and also put tracks on these as well. We'll start with this one. And again, that's moving up right up towards Charleston and up into Athens and those areas here. So again, Charleston, Calhoun area on the Tennessee side, they're around 1:28. Again, probably be there a little bit sooner, but give or take a few minutes either direction. 1:58 for the Delano area. Riceville about 2:10, about 2:12 for Etowah. Athens here also within the next hour to 2 hours, as well as Nyota, and then Madisonville and Sweetwater just after that. So again, that's for this storm, and then here's the other one that's moving out of parts of Sequatchie County, that was over Lewis Chapel there earlier. Here's the one that's moving up towards the Dayton area, and that's also moving up into Sale Creek. So updated track there puts us in Bakewell pretty much right now. Sale Creek here within the next 5 minutes around 1:05, about 1:18 for Graysville, and about I'd say right around 1:30 for the Dayton area. So I know you folks up here to the north across Ray County and Meigs County have already had storms, but you got another one here that's moving up in your direction. But thankfully, it's non-severe. Also the gust front that's been moving out of Franklin County from those leftover storms that were there earlier have popped up some new ones on the Marion side, also over Bridgeport. But thankfully, these are non-severe, just some heavy rain and lightning. And all this you see out here to the west is just stratiform rain and some thunder, but nothing to worry about there. Check the wind mode on this severe storm in DeKalb County, Alabama. I mean, that whole county, DeKalb County, Alabama, is just getting hammered really hard with some very strong wind. Again, 50 to 60 mile an hour wind. And moving east from there, torrential rain, a lot of lightning. Not seeing any hail in it, but mostly a wind and torrential rain and lightning deal as that moves into Walker and Chattooga counties. Again, Ringgold's still getting it hard, and the front edge of this is now moving into Tunnel Hill and Varnell as we speak. So hopefully with time here as we go forward, hopefully this will start trending out of Ringgold here, so that way the flooding doesn't get too crazy. But yeah, these rainfall amounts are something else. And here's the latest scan showing a 5-inch mark. So showing 5 inches here based on radar here on the northwest side of Ringgold there east of Fort Ove and I-75. So definitely an area to be concerned with there for flash flooding. And then this little area in northeast Alabama hadn't changed much too. So between Scottsboro and Section there along the river, showing about 2 to 3 inches of rain there. And most other areas that have gotten storms have seen at least 1 to 2 inches of rain. And all that has fallen within about an hour's time. So at this time, as I said, we're working about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 counties that are currently under severe thunderstorm warnings. So that includes Jackson and DeKalb, shall I say southeastern Jackson and most of DeKalb and northeast Alabama, and in southern Dade, southwestern Walker, Chattooga counties of northwest Georgia, as well as Catoosa and Whitfield counties of northwest Georgia. Those are the other counties under severe thunderstorm warnings. The blue polygons you see on the map, mostly up here on the Tennessee side, one moving into Sale Creek, and the other moving over Cleveland, moving up towards Charleston and Calhoun. Those are what we call special weather statements, or basically strong storm advisories that are below a severe thunderstorm warning, but also at the same time very strong storms. Now, I just got an important update here on this Catoosa County flash flood warning, and I just saw a different polygon pop up, and this is a considerable tag. So take heed here in the Ringgold area. At 1:02, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 3.5 and 4 inches of rain have fallen. Flash flooding is ongoing and are expected to begin shortly. The hazard type with this is life-threatening flash flooding, thunderstorms producing it. It's radar indicated. Locations that will experience flooding include Ringgold, Boynton, and Indian Springs. And also the note at the bottom here, where it says flash flood damage threat, it's considerable. It's been tagged as considerable. Flash flood threats has been classified as considerable. So that's because of all the rain that's fallen in that area within the last 1 to 2 hours. So the more this adds up, the worse the flooding situation could get there in the Ringgold area. So definitely keep that in mind. So not only do we have the severe storms ongoing here on the Georgia and Alabama side, but we also got flash flooding becoming a major concern in some areas. And as this moves off to the east, and we just have very slow moving storms. So again, I do want to emphasize, we do not have any tornado warnings. We don't have any of that. That's the good thing here. No threat of tornadoes, nothing like that. What we have are very loud, strong August storms here in the middle of the night as we get past the midnight hour on both the eastern and central time zones here, that are just loud and very, with all that lightning, very heavy rain, frequent lightning, even some gusty wind. And in areas where there's been gusty wind, some of them have actually reached upwards of severe levels. So that's one thing I will say. I'll read through some of the comments here real quick while I have a little bit of time on this. Power outage being reported in Ringgold, Crossville. You will not see this up that way on the Tennessee side. You'll be good there. You are welcome there, Lisa. Thank you for tuning in. Chatsworth has the most amazing lightning storm right now. No rain or thunder for now. Alyssa says on the border of Hamilton, Catoosa, and East Brainerd, it hasn't let up. It's very intense. Is it going to let up anytime soon? Not really much in the near term, but it will here over the next couple of hours. So give it about another hour, 2 hours or so, and things should start tapering off here a little bit. Yes, Bridgeport's in the clear. I know you got a heavy thunderstorm in Bridgeport, but the severe threat's done over that area. Starting to calm down a little in the Lakeview area around Lakeview Middle School, but power's still out. Sandrock, Flat Rock, a lot of thunder and lightning. Worst part over for Dade, yes. Still got some heavy rain and lightning and thunder, but as far as severe is concerned, it's east of you now. Do you think the thunderstorms in Alabama could weaken before they make it to Lafayette? Unfortunately, they're not. Unfortunately, in this, so you're already getting storms there now, but the ones moving out of DeKalb County, Alabama, in your area is unfortunately not weakening. Coming down bad in Trenton, and starting to rain on Cagle Mountain, Dunlap. So wanted to read through a few reports here. The storms are moving from west to east, so moving east at about 10 miles an hour. The one in Cleveland is going to miss you in Benton and Delano. I know Benton, you'll probably get some rain out of it, and Delano, you'll probably get some rain, maybe some thunder out of it too, but it looks like the worst of it's going to miss you to the west. Rossville, Fort O, since the worst of the storms are to your south now, y'all are good. Rockmart, I don't technically cover that area down there in Rockmart, down towards Metro Atlanta, but you can sleep. And let's see. Will these storms weaken as they move? That's the hope, as these move into North Georgia here as we get deeper in the night. But unfortunately, they've been holding together down that way. Power flickering in Ringgold a few times. Very heavy rain and a flash flood alert on my phone. Constant lightning. So yeah, just wanted to read through a few reports there while I was at it. And then when will Dalton be in the clear? Probably won't be for another couple of hours. The storms haven't quite gotten to Dalton yet, but they're just about to here in a few minutes. Is the bad part over in Higdon, Alabama? Yes. So y'all are good there in the Higdon area. Whitwell hearing a lot of thunder and lightning. Do we have any more coming toward us? The good thing here is behind all this rain and storm mess you see here locally, you get back out here towards I-65 and points west towards the Mississippi River, there is nothing out that way. So there's no additional wave coming after this one. Now behind the scenes here, I will go ahead and check and make sure we got some modeling here. And yeah, I don't see anything else really developing behind this, so that's good. So we'll be good after this gets through. So again, at the moment, let's get back here to some tracking here. So we'll start on the Tennessee side. Got a heavy storm that's developed on the moving across Marion County. Got a good downpour by the airport there, just east of downtown Jasper, there towards Griffith Highway. But there's a very heavy storm also crossing 41, moving up towards Whitwell Mountain, towards the Whitwell area itself, into Crossroads. So Whitwell Crossroads, get ready. It's another pretty heavy storm moving your way, but non-severe at this time. Here are the other storms. Moving out of Dunlap now, moving up into southern Bledsoe County, so Hendon up towards Palo, Lusk, Lee Station, that area. And here's the strong thunderstorm that's been advised on for the Sale Creek, Graysville, Bakewell area. That'll also affect Birchwood and Dayton here within the next half hour or so. Here's the other thunderstorms in parts of Hamilton County into Bradley. Moving from Shady Grove across Highway 58, so down to Snow Hill, Ottawa, Georgetown Road, into Georgetown itself, down through the city of Cleveland. Starting to get on the backside and downtown of the storms now. Up through Tasso, east on the west side of Benton. But thankfully this is non-severe, but it's quite heavy as it moves up towards Claxton and Charleston and Calhoun here. And eventually this will move up towards Athens. So heads up around Athens, Decatur, Dayton, Etowah here. This is all moving up in your direction. I know you've already had some storms up in here earlier this evening, but unfortunately you're going to get more here as we get into the overnight. Now on the Georgia side, some good news for Ringgold here is it does appear that the heaviest rain is slowly starting to edge out. So that's good. It's more at a moderate pace now, but hopefully we can continue getting that rain rate down. But unfortunately that flash flood warning has been upgraded to considerable. So you are under a considerable flash flood warning in the Ringgold area for the next 3 hours here until 4:30 because of that. Because Doppler radar has indicated as much as 3 to 4 and even upwards of 5 inches of rain, all within less than 2 hours time. So while the heaviest is starting to move more east of you, more into Whitfield, you still got rain falling. So as long as that rain keeps falling, that's still going to be problematic here. So that'll be something to watch. And another advisory has just been issued here that covers most of northwest Georgia. So Dade, Walker, Catoosa, Whitfield. This is a special weather statement for penny-sized hail and wind up to 50, and that expires at 1:45 a.m. Eastern. So, like I said, Dalton, I know you haven't had much in Dalton yet, but it's coming. It's moving in right now. And in Chatsworth, it'll probably be there within the hour. So those of you down also towards Calhoun, Georgia, and to Summerville that haven't seen much yet, it's all heading in your direction here very soon, here within the next hour. Let me check the wind mode on these. So before I do that here, let's go ahead and just keep going down the line here, starting on the Georgia side. So from Appleton, Tennessee, there in Hamilton County, through the east side of Ringgold now, east of the Ridge into Catoosa Springs, moving into Varnell and Cohutta now, down through Tunnel Hill, Rocky Face, rain starting to get into the city of Dalton now, then southwest from there into the Lafayette, Rock Spring area, moving up towards Kensington, Cooper Heights, Rising Fawn, Sulphur Springs, DeKalb County, Alabama, over to Ider, Valley Head, Hammondville, Mentone, Bankhead, Lake Howard, down through Fisher Crossroads, Adamsburg, Little River Canyon area, Dogtown. Fort Payne is on the back side of this now. Collinsville getting the brunt of this right now too. Crossville, Alabama getting the worst of this as well. Geraldine, you're getting on the back side of it now. Scottsboro, you're good, just some light rain and some thunder. Also, same thing for Bridgeport and Stevenson, just some rain and thunder there as well. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anybody else. So, just some stratiform rain out here to the west, over western Jackson, up into western Franklin County. Nothing severe, though, out of that. This cell, moving into Whitwell in Marion County, has prompted a special weather statement. It's not severe. I do want to stress that point. It's not severe, but it might have some 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and perhaps some pea-sized hail in it. So let's check and see what the wind looks like on it. And, yeah, some 30 to 40 in that as it moves on to the east. Again, not a severe storm, but definitely one that is quite heavy as that moves off to the east towards the Whitwell Crossroads area and eventually up on top of a signal there. And down the road, this might move back into Red Bank, Hickson, and Saudi here. So heads up here for central Hamilton County because this thunderstorm in Whitwell is heading in your direction here within the next half hour. And here's another storm that looks like it's popped up here. Yep, between Reliance and Turtletown and eastern Polk County. So got another storm that's formed there that's moving off to the east into Cherokee County, North Carolina. But the main severe weather area at this time is mostly east of I-59 and atop Lookout Mountain in DeKalb County, Alabama, points east into parts of Walker County, Chattooga, eastern Catoosa, and into Whitfield County. So think about this zone right here. That's the area currently experiencing severe weather, is in this zone right here. So really from Weiss Lake there around center, that's Cherokee County, Alabama, up through the I-59 corridor here, south and east of Fort Payne up on top Lookout there, into Chattooga County, so Somerville, Tryon, Menlo, up into Lafayette, Walker County, Villanelle. And there's a new severe thunderstorm warning for the Rome area down in Floyd County. And then that's going to move east towards Calhoun as well next, so heads up there. And also towards Chatsworth here, so that's a new warning that also includes southern Chattooga around the Lyerly area, but that's definitely also heading towards Rome too. And the good news is it does appear that this severe thunderstorm warning for Catoosa and Whitfield has been allowed to expire on time, so that's good. So as far as I know, I've not seen any signs that if it will be extended or not. Based on the velocities, at least on the wind end of things, I don't see anything really impressive that warrants an extension at this point, but definitely got a lot of very heavy rain, some lightning, and some gusty wind in that as that moves through Whitfield County very slowly at like 10 miles an hour. And eventually, with time, that will move into Murray County, which is Eton and Chatsworth here within the hour or so. And then here's an update on the storms on the Tennessee side here. We'll start east. Benton getting some good rain. Coe's now on the backside of this. Tasso getting a very heavy storm there right around the Cleveland airport there. Up around Charleston now starting to get in on this. Delano, Claxton, you're next up. Big Springs kind of in the middle between these, but you'll probably get some rain and thunder there as well. And again, Athens, Riceville here, Etowah. You're about to get some storms here momentarily. Here's the thunderstorm over Sale Creek and Graysville. Moving into Graysville now. Moving into Birchwood as well. They're along Highway 30. And moving right up into Dayton here. So this will be in Dayton here within a matter of 10 to 20 minutes. So you had some storms earlier this evening. You got more moving in now. And then that will move into Decatur as well over there in Meigs County within the next half hour as well. Again, Pikeville, it looks like you guys are going to miss out on a lot of this. Again, you may get a little bit of rain and thunder from this storm down to the south and west coming up from Dunlap, coming up 127 East Valley Road, but it does appear the worst of this is going to stay to your south. So if you're in Pikeville, you're good. And really, I mean, you could pretty much say from Jackson County, Alabama, and the Squatchy Valley points west, severe threat's done. I mean, there's only one, at least in the Squatchy Valley, there's only one strong storm on the board, and it's this one over Whitwell. Going to watch that a little bit just out of precaution, but at the moment it does not really scream anything impressive, and that's the good news of it. It's just a gusty thunderstorm with a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, maybe a little bit of pea-sized hail, but at most, but nothing big with that as it moves up towards Signal and eventually Red Bank, Hickson, and over towards Saudi here down the road. But the severe stuff, again, is mostly on the Georgia side and areas east of I-59 in DeKalb County, Alabama. So if you're on Sand Mountain, you're good. So Sand Mountain, all clear for you as far as severe weather is concerned. So you're good there. Again, Winchester, if you happen to be still watching from McMinnville or Grundy County or anywhere really in Middle Tennessee, especially from the Squatchy Valley points west, as I said, you are good. So that's good. So again, this will continue as we get further and further along here from west to east. We'll get more and more areas to eventually be clear. It's just going to take some time, but yeah, I do like where we're at though, at least right now, at least on the severe side of things. And except for Chattooga and Walker, those are the only areas that are under warnings right now. Let's check and see how the winds are on these real fast, and this right here is definitely something. So there you go. The wind gust there showing just south of Lyerly there at 59. So again, severe wind gust level is 58. That's the threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. So that is right at severe level there. moving up into Somerville, and moving down towards Rome, and eventually towards Calhoun here next. And then this stuff up here, the storms moving across the rest of Walker and into Whitfield, again, non-severe, but the winds could gust upwards of maybe 30, 40, maybe up to 50 miles an hour in some locations. But the main predominant threat up here on the Walker and Whitfield and eastern Catoosa side is going to be that torrential rain. That's really going to be the main story out of that. Again, here's that considerable flash flood warning for central Catoosa County, so that does include Indian Springs, to the Boynton area and into the city of Ringgold. That expires here in 3 hours. And again, that goes in effect here. Let me make sure I got that reminder until 4:30 Eastern. So again, that's for the potential of some potentially significant flash flooding. I mean, when you get a flash flood damage threat of considerable on here, that's something you got to take seriously here, because that means those areas, those flood-prone areas, may be flooding pretty badly here. Considering when you add 3 to 5 inches of rain on one area like that in such a short amount of time, that's definitely problematic. So there's the rainfall amounts, and yes, definitely for sure. So yeah, widespread 4 to 5 there in Catoosa, and we're still getting elsewhere 1 to 3, which is just as big, especially considering that these storms are such slow moving. Well, turns out that storm moving into Dalton has decided to reach severe levels again, so looks like it's cycled back up again. So now we got a new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to take this into Murray County. So that's going to take it right into Chatsworth here a moment within the next half hour or so. So heads up for those of you in Murray County as well as Whitfield County. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning that is valid until, let me get the time frame, 2 a.m. Eastern time. That's when it goes in effect. So this is going to be for East Central Catoosa, not for Ringgold, but for Catoosa Springs and down to the county line. Murray County and Whitfield County until 2 a.m. Eastern. At 1:20 a.m. Eastern, a severe thunderstorm was located over Rocky Face or near Dalton. It's moving east at 20 miles an hour. Hazard is 60 mile an hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. It is radar indicated. Locations that are in the path of that include Dalton, Chatsworth, Varnell, Eton, Tunnel Hill, Mill Creek, Carters, Donville, Ramhurst, Rocky Face, Fort Mountain, and the North Georgia Speedway. So those are the locations that are in the path of that severe storm capable of producing damaging winds. And for your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of the building. So just make sure if you are any of these severe thunderstorm areas here, really from Lafayette south to Somerville, and also from Dalton and Tunnel Hill and Rocky Face east to Eton and Chatsworth down to Ramhurst, make sure you're inside a good safe place, at least away from windows. You don't have to take tornado precautions because there's not a threat of a tornado here, but at least from the potential of strong winds, you definitely want to be at least inside, away from windows, at least, just out of precaution. Again, no need to take safety precautions from tornadoes or anything like that, but at least from the straight line wind, you definitely do need to be inside and at least away from windows here. So here's some estimated times of arrival here. So Chatsworth around 1:50 as well as Eton. So that's a quick little ETA on that one. And then considering this is also severe, I'll go ahead and do this one as well. That's moving into Somerville. And we'll track that all the way into the Calhoun area. Again, Somerville basically right now, trying almost right now here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Lafayette, this line segment will get to you at about 1:33 here in about 10 minutes. About 2:03 for Calhoun, Adairsville about 2:05, Resaca at 2:08, and then Fairmount in Gordon County, Georgia around 2:32. So that's for this segment you see here. And then here on the Tennessee side, I'll go ahead and do this one also. That's moving through the Whitwell Crossroads area of Marion County. In fact, I'll actually bump that up to 30. Again, Fairmount and Signal right around 1:39 Eastern. about 1:47 for Red Bank, Saudi about 1:55, and about 2 o'clock in Lakeside. So that's all within the next roughly 30 minutes or so, 30 to 40 minutes. And then I'll also time this out for you, give you an update up around Athens here. And that's moving off to the northeast as well, around 15 miles an hour. Riceville around 1:35, about 2 o'clock for Etowah and Athens, so right around 2 o'clock for you guys. 2:24 for Nyota. And then lastly, this track here, going to draw this out as well. Move that off to the north and east. And I'll just put Pikeville in this out of precaution. See if I can. And then that's moving northeast at about 15 to 20. So again, Dayton here around 132. Decatur around about 208. 234 for Spring City, so basically about 230 for you guys, and about 241 for the 10 mile. Again, Pikeville area you're also looking at here between the next 15 to 30 minutes. So really between about 12:37 Central and 1 a.m. Central, that's going to be the time frame for you if you do get a storm out of this. Even though it looks like most of us, at least the most part of this, at least the heaviest part of this is going to stay just to your south by a good ways. So, and again, DeKalb County, Alabama, real quick. Just some very heavy rain in here at this point. I believe the severe stuff has moved to your east now. Yeah, definitely the strongest winds have. So you still got these warnings technically in here in effect for about another 5 minutes, but I don't see an extension needed as this is now crossing the state line here into northwest Georgia. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and give DeKalb County, Alabama the all clear. So as far as severe weather is concerned. So northeast Alabama, all clear. You can go to sleep. And then Dade County, still got some heavy rain and lightning, but I'm going to go ahead and clear you guys as well, along with Ringgold, Chickamauga, Fordo, Rossville. I believe y'all are good too from severe weather. You still got, of course, with all the rain that you've received, you do still have that risk for flash flooding. But as far as like severe thunderstorms are concerned, the bulk of this is now shifting to your south a good ways. So all clear in those areas I just mentioned. But again, here's this heavy bowing segment here. So again, when you get a line like this that bows like this, like what you see here going through Dalton, it kind of bows like that. Along that leading edge is where you got that potential for those strong damaging wind gusts. So that is heading right down 76 there towards the Chatsworth area. So heads up around Eton, Chatsworth. It's heading your way here within the next half hour. It's moving over Dalton now, moving up into Varnell. Could be some small hail up in here as well. Again, it's maybe some pea to marble size hail, but nothing too big. And then also extending west, here's Lafayette here. Very heavy rain and thunderstorms here moving over your area. And even though the real heavy stuff is just to your north around Rock Spring, extending out towards Dalton and points west over towards Kensington and Cooper Heights. But that stuff is also heading in your direction here over the next 10 to 20 minutes or so. Again, Somerville's getting hit pretty hard now, along with Pennville and Tryon. And Menlo's on the back side of it now, but Tryon's about to get in on this very soon, if not already. Very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, potential for damaging wind. Again, could be on the order of 50 to 60 miles an hour. The heaviest winds here are showing that in that same area. So 50 to 60 for Chattooga County, as well as down into the Rome area of Floyd County. And the velocities up on the Dalton storm are not quite as strong, but add the numbers here together basically from away and toward the green and red, and that gets pretty close to severe levels. So that's why this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect here for parts of Whitfield and Murray counties, and that goes in effect for another 30 minutes until 2 a.m. So I will say that at least the severe part of things is slowly, with time, starting to decline. It's just a very slow process, but I feel like it is. So we still got warnings here across northwest Georgia, but as far as severe storms are concerned, especially on the Tennessee side, at the moment I'm not seeing that. Even though these are some very loud storms nonetheless, with a lot of lightning, very heavy rain, some gusty wind. Again, this little wind signature here east of Whitwell is probably producing some 30 to 40. Mount Argus as it moves over Suck Creek Mountain into southern Sequatchie County. They're right around Lone Oak and points east. On top of Signal there, moving east towards Falling Water and Mowbray, and right back into areas that have already had storms. So right back into Soddy Daisy and Hickson and Lakeside and all y'all again. Red Bank will probably be on the south side of this. Downtown Chattanooga, all you're probably going to get down there is just some light to moderate rain and perhaps some thunder, but I don't think you ain't anything to worry about there because this is all going to split you to the north and south there in downtown. So again, downtown Chattanooga, I think you guys are in pretty good shape, and most of the city itself as well. Just some rain and thunder, and then the rain you see out here in Franklin County's nothing to worry about either. Again, this is just some leftover stratiform rain from the earlier storms. So as far as who has the better chance of any severe storms are concerned, the way I'm seeing it here is mostly this corridor here. So in other words, areas such as from Rome up through Calhoun, Summerville, Tryon, up into Lafayette, Rock Spring, east of Dalton, Calhoun's Resaca, Sonoraville, up to Eton, Chatsworth, and Amherst, and points east there into the Blue Ridge Mountains, and even the northern suburbs of Atlanta. So this is the area here. If there's going to be any severe weather, this is likely going to be where it is. Now, I cannot rule out the possibility totally, even though the chance is lower up here, at least on the Tennessee side, that one of these storms in here may try to brush severe limits. They are certainly trying, but so far have stayed below that. The blue boxes, of course, you see on the screen are these special weather statements. These are moving more to the northeast. The storm in Whitwell is moving off to the east, but these up here to the north are moving more northeast. So again, Dayton, you're getting in on this now, and looks like Pikeville, you're actually going to get in on this storm as well here within the next half hour. And in Decatur, you're probably going to get this storm as well, moving out of Hamilton County into Ray and southern Meigs. So you'll definitely get at least some rain out of that. And then here's the thunderstorm moving over Charleston and Calhoun, moving off to the east towards Delano and Etowah, as well as Claxton, moving up into Riceville, Englewood, Athens. You guys are next up to see this, and then eventually Monroe County. Another strong cell over Turtletown and Farner, moving east into North Carolina. And then here's an update on this heavy storm moving from Whitwell and the Crossroads up on top of Signal there. Definitely a gusty storm, 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts possible. A lot of lightning, heavy rain moving east from there. And then once you get back out here in the middle Tennessee, really from the plateau points west, you might hear some thunder or see lightning in the eastern horizon from these storms to the east, but that's it. All there is to it. So y'all are good up here, up towards I-24. And looks like they just put out another special weather statement here, which is this blue polygon you see on the map that covers a good chunk of southern Walker County from Lafayette south through Summerville east to Calhoun. So this part of the line segment has not been deemed severe. Even I will say the wind gusts are getting pretty close to that, but they are just below it, at least at the moment. Again, could be some 40 to 50 mile an hour wind there moving from Chattooga County and into Gordon County. But again, if you're in northeast Alabama, Jackson, DeKalb counties, you're good. So you got nothing to worry about here. So the severe storms have moved out of your area. You are good to go. And I really believe here, once we get deeper into the overnight, the severe threat will continue to decrease here with time. Um, it's just taking it's just taking time doing so. But as I said, the only warnings that we have right now are on the Georgia side. One for extreme southern Chattooga County, right around Lyerly, and then this one right here that covers most of Whitfield and most of Murray County. So again, Eton, Chatsworth, this is, you got a cell over Unal up around Eton, but that's just a downpour up there though. The part that is severe is what's coming through Dalton right now, moving into Dalton and moving through Varnell and places like Tunnel Hill and Rocky Face and out towards Mount Vernon, Mill Creek, the Trickham area, those areas like that in western Whitfield County. That's what you're going to get. So you're getting all this you see out here to the west. So again, batten down the hatches here across Whitfield and Murray counties in North Georgia here, and also down into Gordon County as well, because these thunderstorms are now moving into your areas here very slowly. Again, checking to see what I can find also on the situation in the Ringgold area. So far, I haven't seen anything really wild, at least as far as like flooding video or anything like that at the moment, but definitely some very heavy rain and all that. Again, just lots of lightning. I mean, like I said, the lightning show is just really impressive with this stuff. And like I say, just a lot of lightning, some very heavy rain. And again, like I said, the only warnings we got here are on the Georgia side at the moment. Again, so that's the situation with that at this time. Again, as I said, I've not gotten any reports of any kind of damage or anything like that, thankfully. I will double check, though, just to see real fast. Checked some of the storm reports, and nothing really locally, except from earlier this evening. There was a tree down report in Meigs County. I think I lost it on feed here behind the scenes, but on the feed here, but there was a tree down up there from earlier storms, but haven't heard anything anywhere else at this time. So again, definitely some very strong thunderstorms here, but at least as far as organized severe weather is concerned, most of that's trended here to the south. But again, we still got some very heavy thunderstorms here on the Tennessee side, and all moving east-northeast from here. So again, here's this heavy storm again, crossing from Marion into southern Sequatchie County, east into Hamilton. And then some very heavy storms here from south of Pikeville, east through Graysville, up to Dayton now. So Dayton now is getting in on more storms. Decatur, it's about to move into your area here very soon. Again, here's these thunderstorms that are moving out of Bradley and Polk and now moving into McMinn County. So heading up towards Riceville, Calhoun, Etowah. And then some other storms popping up in Polk County. Here is the really the lone severe storm we have, at least locally on the board. The other one in Chattooga is now moving into Floyd. At least the severe part of that is it's been warned on. It's moving into Floyd County, so that's moving out of our area. But so the one severe storm we have on the board right now is this one, moving over the Dalton area. And I will say this is trying to show a little bit of signs of some broad rotation here, as you see aloft here, based on the reds and greens, but it's nothing really large with that. I mean, they're still fairly separated from one another, but the main threat with this is going to be those strong straight line winds that could be upwards of 50 to 60 miles an hour. So again, I'll keep an eye on the velocity here just to be on the safe side, but I don't see anything major there. But but what that could do also is bring down some very strong winds to the surface. Again, 50 to 60 with that as it moves over Dalton and moves east from Whitfield and into Murray County here momentarily. But at the moment, no evidence of a tornado or anything like that at this time. And then checking on this one here, moving out of Chattooga County and eventually into western Gordon County here in momentarily. Again, some very heavy wind, 40 to 50 mile an hour wind potential, very torrential rain, a lot of lightning, moving east from there towards the Calhoun area. Again, so far, as I said, no other reports of anything like that. But again, but radar is indicating quite a bit of heavy storminess in this area. So what I'll do is I'll draw an updated track here real fast, and this will be in the Plainville area around 203, about 210 for the Calhoun area, 221 for Resaca, and then Fairmount and Gordon County about 243, and Ranger about 244 on that. And then up here, we'll track this as well. Take it out through most of Murray County. Again, this will be in Eton here in about 15 minutes. You already got a downpour over there now, but from the part that's warned on for being severe, it'll be in your area around 1:55 and about 2 o'clock, and around 2 o'clock for you folks in Chatsworth on that storm. Then again, let's put a quick track on this one. Moving to top signal here from the Whitwell area. Moving off to, again, this will move right back into Sale Creek and pretty much the same, as well as Soddy and other areas that have already had storms. So put that east at about 30. Again, Fairmount Signal Mountain here pretty much right now. And then about 12:45 Central, 1:45 Eastern, and Red Bank from this heavy downpour moving in. Soddy area about 1:55, and then Sale Creek there just before 2:15 Eastern time for you guys. And then also, we'll check on this one as well. Put an updated path on that one. And that'll also, I'll move that also northeast at about 20. And that will be in Pikeville here in a matter of minutes here, about the next 5 to 10 minutes. About 151 for Decatur, 240 for Spring City, and also 240 for 10 Mile. And then lastly, this one on this track, that'll be in Athens here around about 2 o'clock, so between 2 and 2:30 for you guys in Athens, and about pretty much right now for Riceville here in Nyota about 2:28, and Madisonville, Monroe County by about 2:48. So those are some quick updated times of arrival there, at least for these thunderstorms that are remaining across the area, mostly in northwest Georgia, southern Tennessee. The severe stuff's on the Georgia side, but the strong stuff, but mainly the strong stuff's on the Tennessee side, though. Again, watching the velocities here just to make sure we don't have any surprise areas of like broad rotation that might show up. Thankfully, I'm not seeing that anymore around Dalton as I was about a scan ago. That was aloft, but again, nothing crazy, just mainly wind in that. Same with this down here. Moving into Gordon County from Chattooga. Again, just some very strong wind, a lot of lightning, very torrential rain. Hail threats diminishing. Don't think we see as much small hail anymore. I mean, that's diminishing pretty quickly. This is mostly just becoming very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, all that stuff. Nothing too wild, at least on hail or anything like that. So I do believe that part's diminishing. And again, can't rule out some peat and maybe some penny-sized hail in a few areas, but I do believe the hail part of all this is diminishing quite a bit. But again, lots of heavy-duty storms out there. And the good thing is, as we go forward here the next couple of hours, things should start improving. And as we go further and further along, I think we'll continue seeing things continue to decrease in intensity and all that. So that's some good news. Let me read through a few comments. No power in part of New Hope, just now getting to Tryon. When will this be out of Dalton? It's taking its time, but it should be out of there within about an hour. Yes, you're good to go to bed in Tunnel Hill. Loud and raining beside Whitwell schools, but still have power. No power in Whitwell. Crossroads getting hit. Tunnel Hill's crazy right now. Let's see here. Yes, you are in the clear in Whitwell. Let's see. Again, Lafayette, Tryon, Somerville, what to expect. Again, heavy rain, gusty winds, a lot of lightning. A lot of thunder and lightning between Jasper and Whitwell. So, yep. Those are some of the ones I've been able to see on here. And also, just got a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for Gordon County. So this does include the Calhoun area. So this does include areas of eastern Chattooga County into and through Gordon County out towards Ranger and Fairmount and Resaca. So this warning will go in effect now until, let me get the time frame on that, 2:30. So this severe thunderstorm was located over Everett Springs, or 10 miles east of Somerville, moving east at 35 miles an hour. Hazard is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail. Locations that are in the path of this include Calhoun, Resaca, Plainville, I should say, Fairmount, Ranger, Sonoraville, Oostanaula, Redbud, Armuchee, Folsom, Lake Marvin, Audubon, Sugar Valley, and Everett Springs. So those are the locations in the path of that severe storm moving out of Chattooga County and into Gordon County. So this storm has strengthened to a point where the National Weather Service feels that it's warranted enough for a severe thunderstorm warning, and at the moment that's the way it is. So again, this is definitely a very strong thunderstorm here coming out of that area. So again, if you're in Tryon and Somerville, I know it's still pouring and probably still pretty nasty out that way, but as far as the severe threats concerned, that has moved to your east. So as far as severe wind and all that, that's moved away from you. And so you guys are good back here despite all the rain you're still seeing, rain and lightning you're seeing. But Calhoun and Resaca, get ready. This is moving into your area within the next half hour, so it'll be there fairly quickly. So currently in our entire area, the only counties that have severe thunderstorm warnings valid at this time are eastern Chattooga County, east of Somerville and Tryon, all of Gordon County, including Calhoun and Resaca, as well as Fairmount and Ranger, most of Whitfield County, and most of Murray County. Again, all these counties are in northwest Georgia. They're the only ones that have severe warnings at this time. On the Tennessee side, some strong thunderstorms in parts of Sequatchie County from Dunlap south up the mountain to Lone Oak. So Signal up to Dunlap there, moving east towards the Soddy Daisy area. Might clip parts of Hickson as well, move back up towards Sail Creek again. Here's another strong storm from Pikeville down to Graysville and Dayton, moving up towards Decatur, and might head up towards Spring City and Evansville as well down the road, along with 10 Mile, where you already had some storms earlier in the evening. Here's an additional strong storm moving out of Charleston and Bradley County into McMinn County now. Some heavy rain about to move into Riceville and Athens here soon, and a very heavy storm here moving over Delano and Etowah, moving east-northeast towards Telco Plains and Englewood. And here's another strong storm in the vicinity of Varner and Turtletown in the northeastern end of Polk County. Now, dude, just so I don't forget about these flash flood warnings, we still got the one out in Jackson County that remains in effect for another 40 to 45 minutes. That's a considerable tag for Scottsboro and Stevenson and West. And also this flash flood warning that covers extreme northeast Dade, northern Walker, most of Catoosa County. But this additional flash flood warning polygon you see in the middle that encompasses the city of Ringgold, that is a considerable damage threat flash flood warning that expires at 4:30. That's because there's been so much rain that's fallen there in such a short amount of time. 3 to 5 inches, that it's prompted the flash flood warning there, that section of that flash flood warning, to be upgraded to a considerable tag. So just make sure that if you do have to be out overnight in that area or early in the morning, just be mindful that there may be some areas of high water and flash flooding because of all the rain. Just something I want to make note of. Again, the winds in here are pretty strong. speaking of the wind mode here, eastern Chattooga and the western Gordon County here, northern Floyd County as well. Again, 50 to 60 mile an hour wind possible in this as it moves into the Calhoun area, as well as with this storm moving over Dalton and east of Tunnel Hill now, getting ready to cross into Murray County, into the Chatsworth area, as well as Eton, down towards Ranger, and everywhere in between. So Ramhurst and up towards Fort Mountain. So again, these are the only areas at this time that are experiencing severe weather. Again, all the storms you see here on the Tennessee side, southeast Tennessee that is, non-severe. And then once you get back out here to Middle Tennessee, really from Franklin County, Grundy, Van Buren, points north and west, all good up in here. Nothing to worry about as well. Now, real quick here, as far as the rest of the morning is concerned here, as we get into our Friday, good news is things will be quieting down. So I don't see any issues for the morning commute. Things will be drying out, and there may be a stray pop-up shower storm in the afternoon, but I don't see that being any issue whatsoever for any local games or anything like that for tomorrow night. So Friday Night Football looks fantastic. In fact, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it does appear as we get into the evening, we may see a slight dip in that humidity as we get towards the evening here. So it's not dramatic or anything like that as far as a humidity drop, but it may be very slight. So that may be something of note as we get towards the deeper into the evening. So that would be good. But so in other words, the storms you see out there, that's it. And once all that moves out of your location, you're good for the night. You don't have to worry about any additional sudden severe storms. And let's see what this new warning update is for Whitfield and Murray, since that was just updated. This will expire at 2 a.m. So this warning for Whitfield and Murray will expire at 2 a.m. The storm that prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits and no longer poses an immediate threat to life or property. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire on time at 2 a.m., which is about 10 minutes from now. However, gusty winds and heavy rain will remain possible with this thunderstorm. So that's good news for those of you in the Dalton and Chatsworth areas, that the wind the wind in this has decreased enough to where there's not a concern for severe weather in this anymore. It's just a strong thunderstorm that may have some gusty winds in the 30 to 40 mile an hour range, and along with those torrential downpours and the frequent lightning. So this severe thunderstorm warning, barring a last-second intensification, will be allowed to expire here in about 8 minutes at 2 a.m. Now, this warning down here to the south, east of Summerville and eastern Chattooga and really through all of Gordon County, this warning remains in effect for about another 35 minutes. And that goes in effect until 2:30 a.m. Eastern, again, for the possibility of some hail and some wind in this. I do think the hail part's decreasing, and this is really more of a wind deal, but the heaviest wind is currently in northern Floyd County near Everett Springs, moving east towards Sugar Valley, Resaca, and Calhoun here in the western half of Gordon County here along and west of I-75. So again, the winds in here, we'll put the scope on here. You can see 50 to 60 being indicated on this, about 4,000 to 5,000 feet off the ground. So definitely a strong indication that those winds are definitely very intense at the surface and could, emphasize could, knock down some trees. So really at this point, we only have one. We still got this one up here for about another 7 minutes for Whitfield and Murray, but that's going to expire right on time. But really the main severe area at this time, as far as severe weather is concerned, is this storm right here that's crossing from Chattooga and Floyd and into Gordon County. And then these strong storms up on the Tennessee side across parts of Sequatchie County, the Signal Mountain area of Hamilton County, moving into Soddy Daisy, and then from Pikeville and Bledsoe County down through Dayton and Graysville and Ray County, and also the southern end of McMinn County right around Etowah. These are the areas that are experiencing strong thunderstorms, but they are not severe. And everything else you see around that, in the green and yellow that surrounds that, that's just the stratiform rain from all these thunderstorms on the backside of all of them. So, but the good thing is none of this is anything of worry either. So, as I said, we're working a couple of warnings here. But this one up around Dalton and Chatsworth here is bound to expire here in about 5 minutes here. So you will likely see that warning disappear here within a matter of minutes. I also want to point out, looks like there was another flash flood warning that was issued. That goes into effect for the next 2 hours. This goes into effect for southern Jackson County and all of DeKalb County, Alabama. This is a flash flood warning until 3 a.m. where you see this area highlighted in bright green that extends all the way down to Coleman. Again, that's for flash flooding. 2 to 3 inches of rain has fallen within the last few hours, and additional amounts of 1 to 2 inches are possible in the warned area. So while we do have the severe thunderstorms, out in parts of North Georgia, we also have the flash flood warnings that are in effect in other areas as well that are moving from west to east. So again, the only real area that's experiencing severe weather right now, at least as far as severe thunderstorm, is this one across really moving out of Chattooga County now. So I'll go ahead and give you the all clear in Chattooga County. I know Tryon and Summerville and Lyerly and Menlo, it's still probably very loud with all that heavy rain and lightning, but as far as the severe threat's concerned, that has decreased substantially, and that is now shifted into Gordon County, and heading right at Calhoun and Resaca here. So first of all, it'll be Sugar Valley first, there along 136, and then eventually heading out towards I-75 and the Resaca Calhoun area down around Buc-ee's and down towards Adairsville, points east toward the 411 corridor, which would include Ranger and Fairmount, and also towards Carter's Lake. So this is also heading out towards Carter's Lake as well as you move out towards the Ellijay area too. Here's the other storm that technically has the warning on it for another 4 minutes, but will not be extended. It's for this one right here. It's moving over Dalton now. Tunnel Hill is now starting to get on the backside, so things should start improving there in a matter of minutes. Varnell, Cohutta, again, a lot of lightning, some heavy rain, but you're on the backside of it now. Again, Dalton's like right in the middle of it, but this will eventually, with time, cross over into Murray County and affect Chatsworth here very shortly. But the good news is, as far as I know, the warning will expire at 2 a.m. Eastern here in about 3 minutes and will not be extended. So that's some great news for you guys there in Whitfield and Murray. So that means it will leave us one local county that has a severe thunderstorm threat, and that will be Gordon County, which is the Calhoun area. And all the storms up here on Tennessee side are non-severe. And one thing to note here also, and this is why the phrase, when thunder roars, go indoors, is the phrase it is. Notice how some of this lightning here is striking within a good 6 to 10 miles outside of some of these thunderstorms. It actually does not have to be raining in your location for lightning to strike. I mean, when thunderstorms get big like this, and they grow into these 40, 50, 60,000 foot tops the way they are, they get so tall and big and stuff, the lightning from those can strike out from several miles, upwards of 5, 10 miles, sometimes a little more. So when you do hear thunder, even if it's not raining where you are, it's always best to go ahead and find shelter inside somewhere, because of the fact that lightning can strike at any time. So anywhere at any time, even if it's not raining. So as the phrase goes, when thunder roars, go indoors, and that is very important to note of, especially for the lightning. And that was a big concern going into tonight because there were a lot of events that were going on. There were a lot of high school. There were some high school games, like for example, I know Cleveland played at Walker Valley. I know Baylor hosted Brentwood Academy. That one, of course, was on national TV. And then so there were some middle school games, probably some other ball games as well. So there was a lot going on tonight on this Thursday night here. Thankfully, a lot of areas avoided lightning delays towards the very end. But unfortunately, that a big concern going into this was the fact that there were so many outdoor events. And these thunderstorms and the timing of those were lining up during those games and such. So, but thankfully, as far as I know, no one's been hurt or anything like that. No one's been hurt from lightning or anything like that. So that's always a big thumbs up. So good on that end and big success there. Again, also, I've not heard and not seen here behind the scenes any additional reports of trees down or anything like that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that trend will continue. Now, sometimes it may take some time, an hour or more in some cases, to get actual reports relayed or whatever. But thankfully, nothing too crazy. We've had several warnings, but at least so far, nothing that's really stood out. So we are now down, as of 2 a.m. Eastern here, early Friday morning, August the 21st. We're down to this one warning, and that is for Gordon County. It's moved out of Chattooga and is now a Gordon County issue. So let's check and see what the wind mode looks like on that. And yeah, looks like it's ramped up a little bit. Now showing a gust of about 64, approaching Sugar Valley there, north and west of downtown Calhoun there. Again, this is running at about 5,000 feet off the ground, so there's a chance at the surface, a pretty good chance at the surface, it's not going at the wind's not going at 64, at least the gust isn't at the surface. It's probably running more 50, 55, maybe up to 60, but just enough for there to be a severe thunderstorm warning, though, because when you have such a tall thunderstorm like this that's running upwards of 50,000 feet like this, it won't take a whole lot to bring that wind, that downburst wind from that all the way down to the surface. So that's something to be aware of here across Gordon County, especially around Resaca, Calhoun, points east to Ranger here over the next 30 minutes or so. Again, that's when this warning expires here in about 28 minutes here at 2:30. So as long as we don't get any other additional warnings or anything like that, I do believe that we'll pretty much be clear for the night here once we get towards 2:30, 3 a.m., especially closer to 3 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Central. And we'll finally be able to clear everybody here, at least from the severe weather threat. So, going to check on these Tennessee storms here, moving across parts of Sequatchie, northern Hamilton, Bledsoe, Ray, Meigs, and McMinn counties. Again, these are currently non-severe, but they are producing a lot of rain, a lot of lightning in a lot of areas. Again, at this time, nothing too substantial. Again, Riceville, it looks like it weakened right over you. So Athens, you're probably just going to get some rain and some thunder and lightning. Again, rain continuing in Cleveland, rain continuing across Chattanooga, also southern Marion County, northeast Alabama got some rain and thunder, but nothing to worry about for you guys. Drying out, the further north and west you go. So Dunlap should start drying out here very soon. Same with Pikeville here in a few minutes. And then once you get up here to the north and west from Franklin County up through Coffee, Warren, Grundy, Van Buren, Cumberland, White, DeKalb, Tennessee, Cannon, north and west, through the mid-state, nothing much. I mean, there's one lone severe storm south of Memphis, but that's going to stay well south and west of us. We won't have to worry about that one. But, I mean, as far as the eye can see, other than one severe storm out west in Kansas that's heading due south and not toward us, that's it. I mean, the air, while it will still be humid, during our Friday. We're not going to have much fuel, especially after these thunderstorms coming through here in the middle of the night. There probably won't be a whole lot of fuel to get anything going during the afternoon and evening. Again, there may be a stray pop-up shower storm here or there, but shouldn't be anything big though. But most of us, I believe, will stay dry. Again, I'll have an update on that here, in a few hours here later this morning on what our Friday and the weekend are going to look like, as well as an early outlook to next week, which, kind of a spoiler alert, it still looks hot and humid, but not like 110 heat index. It's not going to be that hot though. But at the moment though, we still got this one severe storm on the board, only one we got, and it's in Gordon County approaching Resaca. So it does look like the worst of the wind is going to be mostly north of downtown Calhoun. So from Sugar Valley east to Resaca there along 136, crossing I-75, over towards Damascus, Soapstick, Fidel, Audubon there, and then towards Petersburg, Oakman, Carter's Lake, Lewis Corner, Redbud. These are the areas that are in northern Gordon County, Georgia, that are in the path of this severe storm. And it does appear the wind has come down just a little bit. Earlier it was showing, about a scan ago, it was showing a gust of upwards of 60 to 65, about 5,000 feet off the ground. Now that's lowered into the 50 to 56 mile an hour range. So that's very encouraging. So hopefully as these storms continue pressing east, they will continue weakening and continuing to fall apart as we get deeper into the overnight here. And that's really the expectation here, is they should slowly continue to diminish, at least in the severe part. But the lightning and heavy rain, that's certainly going to remain here across northwest Georgia, here from the Lafayette area down to Summerville, Tryon, up to Dalton, Rocky Face, and over into Murray County around Chatsworth. It does appear now we have another warning, and it's for this segment here coming towards Resaca. So even though it has shown a slight weakening trend, there is just enough evidence of it being severe, just enough to where the warning's been extended solely for this little line you see here. So the way it is looking here, it looks like this cluster here and this cluster here might merge as this moves up into parts of southern Whitfield and into Murray County here. So this new severe thunderstorm warning expires at 2:45. A severe thunderstorm was located over Sugar Valley, or 7 miles northwest of Dalton. It's moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. And this is going to be moving towards Dalton, Calhoun, Chatsworth, Eton, Resaca, Crandall, Carter's, so Carter's Lake area, Tails Creek, Ramhurst, Oostinala, Redbud, Lake Marvin, Tilton, Audubon, Mill Creek, Donville, Villanelle, Sugar Valley, Oakman, and Fort Mountain. So those are the areas that are in the path of this severe storm as it moves from southwest northeast. So I do want to emphasize, the storms you're getting in Dalton, that's not the severe part. The one that's being warned on is this one to the south right here. This one here is the one getting warned on as that moves from west to east. And it looks like they just dropped that other warning. So this warning here pretty much replaces that last warning that was in effect for Gordon County. So if you're down there right around Plainview and east towards Fairmont and Ranger, you're out of that warning now. The new warning is to your north and west. But really from the north side of Calhoun up through Resaca, up through especially the south side of Dalton, and up to Chatsworth there, south to Ramhurst, that's going to be the area that is in the path of these strong to severe storms here over the next 20 to really within the next 20 to 30 minutes here, as it moves from as this moves from southwest to northeast across that area. But like I said, it's the only warning we got on the board right now, and hopefully the last one we're hoping. That's the hope here. Again, double checking to make sure we don't have any kind of rotation or anything like that, and thankfully not seeing that. Again, this is all mostly one color here, so that means it's totally straight line wind, kind of southwest to northeast here. So again, that wind's going to be blowing pretty hard there at about 50 to 60 miles an hour, at least along that leading edge, as that moves northeast across northern Gordon County into southern Whitfield County and the southern half of Murray County as well. Now, this also includes western areas just outside of our area here. It does include parts of western Gilmer County. They're west of Ellijay, but that will also head towards Ellijay here down the road as well here within the next hour or so. So get ready up around Ellijay because it is heading your way, as well as Blue Ridge. Also, here's another very strong storm that's non-severe but may have a little bit of small hail in it and some gusty wind, a lot of lightning and heavy rain moving up into Coker Creek there in Monroe County. Also affecting areas just outside of Turtletown and Farner there in northeastern Polk County. Here's another heavy storm over Soddy Daisy. Just some heavy rain there and some thunder and lightning. Same thing for Cleveland. Here's the other storm that is continuing to weaken as it moves out of Pikeville and begins to move out of Dayton towards Decatur and Spring City and 10 Mile there in Ray and Meigs County. So, as I said, other than this one severe storm that just won't let go down there, but in the Dalton, down from the Dalton into the Calhoun area, east and northeast towards Chatsworth, outside of that one, everything else is pretty much weakened, which is the best thing of all. And hopefully with time, this will also hopefully weaken below severe levels as well as that heads up towards the Chatsworth area and eventually up into the Blue Ridge Mountains. And again, we still got, and just as some reminders here, we still got these flash flood warnings here. This one in Jackson County expires in about 20 minutes. This dark green one, that's the considerable one. Water levels should recede, though, fairly quickly once that rain ends. And then the other flash flood warning is for the southern end of Jackson County, mostly the Sand Mountain side, until 3 a.m., and that extends through all of DeKalb County, Alabama. And then here's the other flash flood warnings here: extreme northeastern Dade, northern Walker County, and through most of Catoosa County. And then this one in the middle, this additional flash flood warning you see in the middle, has the considerable damage threat, and that expires in 2 hours for the Ringgold area. So, again, still quite a bit going on, but thankfully things are trending on the down low here, at least on the severe side of things. So, just some quick reminders here. The blue polygons you see on the map, those are the special weather statements. The orange polygons you see are the severe thunderstorm warnings. And the dark green and light green polygons are the flash flood warnings that are all valid right now as that continues from there. So, again, let me see. I'll try to see if I can find some additional storm reports or anything like that in the comments here. Let's see here. Thunder is rolling in Chatsworth. Lightning is crazy, insanely loud in Dalton. Wind is insane in Calhoun right now. Dunlap, you guys are good. Worst is over. Rain and storm threat's pretty much over there. Rain and thunder in Palmer. Let's see here. Power out on Signal Mountain. Yes, it is okay to go to bed in Whitwell. Edge of Calhoun and Floyd by Everett Springs, your power is out. What's made this line of storms so intense? The heat? Likely so, yes. I do believe that. I mean, considering temperatures got up well into the 90s today, low to mid 90s, despite having some evening cloud cover that I was hoping would limit this, unfortunately, that did not really happen because that leftover heat energy was able to carry into tonight here and also the overnight here, and allow these thunderstorms to grow and get more intense. But also, these thunderstorms had been, you know, limited and cut down for most of the afternoon by a cap that was very stout in the mid layers of the atmosphere. But as the cool front has came in and approached our area, that allowed the air, along with that leftover heat and humidity, that especially as we got closer to sunset and after sunset, it allowed those air parcels to rise and create these thunderstorms and allow them to break through that cap in the middle layer of the atmosphere, and then therefore these thunderstorms pop from that. So that's really what happened here as we got deeper into the night here, especially from around sunset and onward, which usually, given the summertime, it's usually in the afternoon. Usually it's from like lunchtime up through 5-6 o'clock, but the timing of the front and everything else, the strength of the cap and everything, held down any real development until right around to after sunset, because of those factors, because the front took its sweet time getting here, and then of course the cap in the middle layers of the atmosphere that helped keep things at bay really for most of the day and allowed temperatures to get really hot. And the first wave that we were supposed to get this morning, earlier in the morning there on Thursday, that ended up trending farther north, and not very many communities saw that. Again, it was mainly favored for areas north and west of Chattanooga, so that part did partially verify, but there wasn't as many like storms coverage wise. So in other words, we were able to build up a lot of heat today because of that. Stayed in sunshine most of the day, and therefore a lot of that heat and everything led to these thunderstorms developing as the front approached and allowed the cap to finally break. Athens isn't getting anything, just a little wind. Again, Sequatchie County, you're good. Rocky Face, you're pretty much on the back side of this now, so you don't have anything to worry about in that area. Power out in South Dayton. Thunder's still shaking my house in Tracy. Good news is, though, for Grundy County, you guys are good, though. Woke up to a good little storm on Dayton Mountain. Okay, thank you for this report, Megan. The mayor in Ringgold just reported lots of flooding in the downtown area, so thank you very much for that report. So I'll repeat that again. In downtown Ringgold, the mayor there is reporting flooding, and lots of it in that area, so be very mindful of that, especially going into the morning as you're dropping the kids off to school and you're going to work and all that. So there may be some areas of high water there first thing in the morning in the Ringgold area. So be mindful of any potential road closures or anything like that. The storm threat will be over for Whitfield County soon, at least the severe part. The severe part should not last more than an hour. So, yep, that's all I see there. So, yeah. Again, the only areas right now, and I will say this, the only areas that are experiencing severe weather at this time are northern Gordon County. So it's moving out of Calhoun now. So if you're in Calhoun, you're good. The southern half of Whitfield County, so really downtown Dalton South, all the way down to the southern bypass where all the carpet stores and all that are, and then points east into Murray County through the Chatsworth, Eton area down to Amherst. Those are the only areas right now that do have severe weather imminent, at least ongoing, I should say. And that severe thunderstorm warning again expires here in about 27 minutes here at 2:45 a.m. So hopefully beyond that point it will not need to be extended again. But again, we'll see at this point. I mean, it's very unknown. And then up to the north here real quick, just making sure nothing else has popped up or anything. Got a shower west of Lake Tansy, but that's non-severe. Again, none of the Tennessee storms are severe, even though this one's pretty heavy over by Coker Creek. That might have some small hail in it, but That's moving up into Monroe County and points east from there, so that's moving away from us. But some heavy rain continuing over Hamilton County, Bradley, Polk, northeastern Bledsoe County. They're on the mountain northeast of Pikeville, through most of Ray County, parts of Meigs. Some rain and some thunder here across McMinn County, and extending south and east from there. Let's see here. Do you think there will be a tornado? No. No tornadoes here. Lightning and thunder just woke me up here. I'm in Chatsworth. Yes, you do have some strong to severe storms moving into your area right now. I will double check velocities though, just to make sure we don't have any rotation, and no, thankfully no evidence of that. Again, this is all just one color here, so when you have the bright red on here, as you see on here, that's just an indication of strong wind. So again, now that strong wind can knock down some trees and some lines and such, but as far as anything tornadic, it's definitely not that at all. But definitely definitely some very loud storms, very strong ones. Again, with those strong damaging wind gusts, the frequent lightning, and the very heavy rain. And just got in a new flash flood warning. And this is probably going to be a very common theme, and really may end up becoming the main story here within the next hour, is going to be the flash flooding. And this is a new flash flood warning for the Dalton area until 6:15 a.m. This is going to be for southeastern Catoosa County as well, along with southeastern Walker County, central Whitfield County, again until 6:15. At 2:19 a.m., Doppler radar indicated heavy thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 1.5 inches and 2.5 inches of rain have fallen, and additional rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Hazard flash flooding caused by thunderstorms, it is radar indicated. Locations that will experience flash flooding include Dalton, Varnell, Tunnel Hill, Mill Creek, Rocky Face, Wood Station, Villanelle, and Naomi. So that's a flash flood warning again until 6:15 for southeastern Catoosa, southeastern Walker, and central Whitfield counties in northwest Georgia. So that's for flash flooding, and that's going to really be the main story here as we go through the rest of the overnight and into the early morning hours here. As we go through the early morning, is going to be those areas of high water. So definitely be very careful out there first thing in the morning. So on the way to work and on the way to school, and watch for any road closures. Check with local EMA. Check with whatever you need to on social media, local mayor's offices, all that stuff, and watch for any kind of potential information that may come out on flooded roads or anything like that. So that way you're able to avoid that stuff and take alternate routes. So that's something to be aware of, especially first thing in the morning. Is it'll take some time for the waters to recede after all this rain that's fallen across portions of Walker and Whitfield and Catoosa counties in particular. So for those counties, for sure, especially Whitfield and Catoosa, definitely be aware of that here first thing in the morning for that high water. So we're pretty much in that transition phase here now, where the severe threat is decreasing, and it's really become more of a heavy rain and thunder deal with that potential, of course, for some flash flooding here. That's already been ongoing in the Ringgold area, with flooding being reported in the downtown area per the mayor. And then also some flash flood warnings also being extended into Whitfield County. So, again, lots of high water, lots of heavy rain, quite a bit of lightning. And even out here towards Jackson and DeKalb counties, the rain is still going on pretty well out here. At least moderate to heavy wise here across Jackson and DeKalb counties. Again, some light to moderate rain continuing, heavy in some spots. Again, non-severe though. And you're probably still hearing a little bit of thunder here across Marion and Grundy counties, but again, you got nothing to worry about here. Again, this is just some loud thunder and lightning here on the backside of rain and storms. Again, here's a heavy downpour over Soddy Daisy, moving over towards Lakeside, south of Bakewell here, moving up towards Birchwood, Georgetown area. Again, nothing severe with that, but quite the downpour there. Again, some moderate to at least some moderate rain, we'll just say, continues in the Cleveland area. Moderate to heavy through most of Polk County, down through the Ocoee. And here's this heavy storm that's north of Farner, heading up into Tellico Plains there in southern Monroe County. And then here's this area of heavy rainstorms moving across extreme northeast Bledsoe County, east of Cold Spring, moving over towards Liberty Hill, Spring City, Evansville, north of Decatur, and some rain continuing over Athens. And Chattooga County, real quick. Tryon, Somerville, you're on the back side of this. Again, rain continuing, just some thunder and lightning, heavy rain though. Not severe though. So the only severe thunderstorm we have on the board is this one here in the southern, we'll just say the southern, really 30-40% of Whitfield County here from downtown Dalton south through most of Murray and extreme northern Gordon County. So if you're in Calhoun, you're on the backside, you're in good shape. And even Resaca, I know it's still probably very loud up there, but the good thing is at least the severe part is moved east of you. So you're good. Ranger, you're fine. Fairmount, you're good. More thunderstorms moving from the west, but you're good as far as severe weather is concerned. And points in between. So let's check and see what the winds look like now. At least on the velocities. And good news is this keeps coming down. So that's some great news here. So hopefully this will mean that the warnings will not needed to be extended beyond 2:45 here in about 20 minutes. So hopefully this weakening trend will continue. So what I'll do is I'll put the velocity on the loop just to kind of show the overall trend. You can see where it ramped up earlier. This was at about 12:54 Central, 1:54 Eastern there, so about 30 minutes ago. You can see how it ramped up west of Calhoun, and ever since it has diminished quite a bit. And that's usually actually what happens when a storm like this occludes and moves more north as opposed to turning to the right. So when a storm turns almost due north, it'll tend to occlude and weaken when it does that. It's when it starts moving more to the right, like it was earlier, where you would be concerned about strengthening. So as long as this thing continues to keep moving more north-northeast through Murray County, this should continue to at least gradually weaken as it continues to do that. And it's also running up into more rain-cooled air as it progresses upward there. So a more northward trend is a good thing here. I mean, it's going to keep it out of Ringgold, thankfully, where all that flash flooding's ongoing. But as far as moving due north is concerned, that's going to take it up right up into parts of eastern Bradley County and into Polk County if that holds together. But at least it keeps the severe threat fairly low and keeps it more of a gusty wind and more of that heavy rain deal. And as I said here, as I zoom out, I'm just going to go ahead and zoom this out so you can see it. Again, nothing. And I mean, there is nothing behind this. I know you see a lot of these blue polygons here. These are special weather statements. And I'd imagine these up in Kentucky and West Virginia are probably for fog. But outside of that, there's nothing going on up in here. I mean, it's clear. So, as I said, once this last bit of rain moves out, that's it. That's it. Noticing another cell here popping up right around Lake Tansy in western Cumberland County, but not a severe storm, but a fairly heavy downpour there in the western end of Cumberland County. And here's another one that's popped up around Grandview there in northwestern Ray County, but again, those are not severe at the moment. Got some other strong thunderstorms here moving south of our area from Gadsden, points south and east. towards the Anniston area, just in case anybody's got traveling or anything like that down towards Birmingham. Just be aware of that early this morning. And again, if anybody's traveling between Chattanooga and Atlanta on I-75, again, you're going to run into quite a mess here. I mean, you're going to run into flash flooding in the Ringgold area. You're probably going to run into flash flooding in parts of Whitfield County, especially in low-lying areas. And it's definitely going to be a mess. And speaking of rainfall, let's look at that again. Amounts mostly in the 2 to 3 inch range have fallen across most of Whitfield County. Little less north and east. More like an inch, but still fairly heavy amounts. Again, this is where the hardest hit area has been, in the Ringgold area. Again, upwards of 5 inches of rain there. Definitely not a good recipe there. So again, 3 to 5 inches on average across the city of Ringgold, and even in Fort O, areas is picked up about 2.5 inches of rain. Rock City, Lookout Mountain also picking up about 2 inches. Trenton, Dade County about 1 to 2. Most of northeast Alabama 1 to 3 on average, as well as Walker County and Chattooga County. Franklin County, especially on the western half, about an inch and a half from Winchester west through Timms Ford. Whitwell's picked up quite a bit, about an inch. Good chunk of Hamilton and Bradley have picked up about an inch to 2 inches roughly. Same goes for Sale Creek up through Ray and Meigs counties, about 1 to 2. Same with the Athens area, and then you got other places like Estill Springs, the north side of Dunlap, especially Fredonia Mountain, Palmer, McMinnville, Morrison, Viola. Barely even a raindrop, if not hardly a raindrop. Not even that far of a distance. That just goes to show you, and this whole rainfall map really describes what scattered to numerous looks like. This right here is numerous, where you see all this blue near. This is where all that rain fell, and you can tell where it fell. I mean, 1 to 3 inches on average, with places like Ringgold getting upwards of 4 to 5 inches based off radar estimates. But then you see the areas where you see the gray and the black colors on here. That indicates where little to no rain fell almost in those areas. So the cutoffs here were pretty sharp, as they usually are in most summer situations like these. You know, the cutoffs are pretty sharp. So, again, one location gets drenched, and then somebody a few miles down the road, barely anything. And tonight was one of those cases, even though there were a lot more areas that got rain than didn't. But those of you that have gotten storms, they've been quite intense, and even up to severe levels. But honestly, I think this warning here is probably not going to be extended any longer. It still runs in effect for about another 13 minutes. The severe thunderstorm warning does for parts of Gordon, Whitfield, and Murray counties. But as I said, I just don't see reason for this to continue further unless there's a rapid intensification and it happens suddenly. And at this point, I'm not seeing it. Looking at the wind here again, wind mode. Yeah, I'm seeing 30 to 40, so that tells me that this is weak. That from my point of view here, this is weakened below severe levels and definitely does not pose any kind of major damage threat. And looking here behind the scenes as well on my phone and looking through some like SPC storm reports, NWS storm reports, I've not seen any sort of evidence or mesonets indicating severe wind or anything like that. So that tells me that this this thunderstorm is on the weakening trend and continues to be as it pushes up through Murray County and as well as the Dalton area. So we're about 10 minutes away, roughly 10-12 minutes here from officially giving this the all clear, at least as far as the warning's concerned. Now they did change the flash flood warning in most of Jackson County, except the southern part of the county, has been allowed to expire, but it has been reissued as an aerial flood warning that's in this light green you see here on the map. That's going to go in effect till 5 a.m. That covers Stevenson, Scottsboro, Woodville, Skyline, High Top, points west to the Huntsville, Decatur, Alabama areas here. That's going to go in effect till 5 a.m. this morning, and that replaces the flash flood warning that was in effect in that area. And that's a flood warning, an aerial flood warning. So the flash flood warnings are these you see in bright green that run from Coleman, so that's Coleman County, Morgan County, through Marshall County, into DeKalb County, Alabama, southern Jackson County. And then here are the other flash flood warnings. Extreme northeast Dade, northern Walker County, so that would include Rossville, Fort O, Flintstone, also the Chickamauga Battlefield over towards Boynton. And then a Ringgold area where you see this second flash flood warning in this little circle here in the middle. That's where the flash flood damage threat has been labeled as considerable by the National Weather Service out of Peachtree City. And they're not mincing words on this for a good reason, because there has been several reports of significant flash flooding in the downtown Ringgold area, and the reports are coming in according to the mayor down there. So that tells me that there's a lot of there's definitely some serious flash flooding going on. And again, I haven't gotten word of what roads are involved, but the main thing to note is that in areas where storms have been ongoing, especially across portions of Catoosa, Whitfield, and Walker counties, flash flooding is ongoing, especially in low-lying areas, and that's something to be aware of here as we get into the morning here, as we get into that morning commute here in a few hours. So there may still be some areas of high water left over from these thunderstorms. So again, the only county at the moment as far as severe weather is concerned from severe thunderstorms at this point right now, it is Murray County, but that warning is about to expire here in about 10 minutes, and that storm, at least in my opinion, is weakened below the severe threshold. And again, the winds also continue to decrease. They're only running at about 30 to 40 on here, so I just don't see this being extended any further eastward. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out here in a few minutes. But yeah, I'll be very surprised if it were to get extended. But also, again, rain continues here. Also on the Tennessee side, some rain and thunder continues across Marion County through Hamilton County. Just got a loud clap of thunder at my location. Also, Bradley, as well as Polk, and that goes all the way up into parts of McMinn County, Meigs, Ray, and also it looks like we got a couple of other little downpours that have formed. One near Fall Creek Falls and Mount Crest and Bledsoe, and another up around the Mooneyham area of northeastern Van Buren County. But those are nothing too big at the moment. And then here's this other big downpour moving towards Lake Tansy and downtown Crossville there in Cumberland County. And again, Spring City's got a pretty Spring City's actually getting split, at least the downtown area of Spring City is. They're getting split by these two storms. You got this one to the north up around Grandview, and the one down by Watts Bar nuclear plant, all that to the south. Moving up northeast toward 10 Mile and over Watts Bar Lake. So those areas from Ray and Meigs County up into Roane County will be next in line for that. Again, not a severe storm, but definitely a heavy one with torrential rain, lightning, and possibly some gusty wind there with that. And again, that's pretty much all we have, at least on that side of things. So let me see if I can get some fronts on here. Again, here is the approximate position of the front that's kicked off all these thunderstorms. As you see, we got an area of low pressure that is situated here over Middle Tennessee. So pretty much this front is right over us here right now. And this is what's been kicking off the storms. And when you see the front, you notice the red line here, you got blue here, you got this red line here, this So when it goes from red, blue, that's a stationary front. So the reason, one of the reasons why these thunderstorms slowed down and became slow moving and training over some areas and such is because of the stationary front. So in other words, it's set up pretty much right on top of us is where this front set up, and therefore it allowed multiple areas of rain and thunderstorms to train along that. Therefore, not only allowing our area to be the center of the strong to severe storms, but also the center of flash flooding issues because of that. So this stationary front is just decided to park. But the good thing is it will move. It will slowly move and get out of here, and will not, barring some unforeseen, will not cause any issues, at least for the rest of Friday. Again, there may be a stray pop-up afternoon shower or storm somewhere here or there, but I really don't anticipate any big issues on that end of things. So, again, Murray County holding on to this warning here for about 5 more minutes. As I said, I just don't see it continuing beyond that. I mean, as you see here, it is much weaker than it was earlier. I mean, look what it was. Again, this was at 12:36 Central, 1:36 Eastern. So exactly an hour ago, just about. And you can just see how strong it was then over Chattooga County. And with time, notice as it moved north and included north, now it has fallen apart. So there's the current image. Compare with earlier, an hour ago. You can just see how much it's weakened considerably as it's moved through Murray County and points north from there into the Blue Ridge Mountains and also eventually up into Polk County. So as I said, I really don't anticipate any other severe weather issues here going forward here. And as I said, this will probably end up being the very last severe thunderstorm warning of this whole event here, as it expires here in about exactly 3 to 4 minutes from now. So in other words, after this, we will be left with the flash flood warnings that will continue here through the next 2 hours until 4:30. This one for parts of Dade, Northern Walker, most of Catoosa, that continues till 4:30. And then the other flash flood warning that was most recent, that includes southeast Catoosa, southeast Walker, and central Whitfield counties, that goes into effect till 6:15. So that will carry it right into that early morning commute time to at least the flash flood warning, the early morning commute time to work and school. So definitely be aware of the possibility of some high water in those low-lying areas and flood-prone areas and all that, so that'll be something to be aware of during the morning, especially as you move into parts of Walker, Catoosa, and Whitfield counties, and I'd even say part of Murray County as well, because of the way this rainfall is translated. So, alrighty, here, just got a severe thunderstorm warning update on this, and just as it's getting ready to expire, so let's tell you what it's about. What this is here: the storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe levels and has exited the warned area. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. So it is official. This thunderstorm has weakened below severe levels. Therefore, it is no longer a threat, and the warning will expire right at 2:45 here. So, with that being said, since we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings, and these thunderstorms continue to weaken and everything, and they're all below severe levels, that is going to do it for me as far as live coverage is concerned. But I'm actually going to craft out an all clear post here fairly soon, and then get some sleep here for a few hours before getting up again here in a few hours in the morning. So thank you all for tuning in here tonight. The good news is, considering now that severe thunderstorm warning in Murray and Whitfield and Gordon is now expired, since those storms have weakened below severe levels. That is it for the severe weather threat. Again, before I go, put this reminder again: watch out for any areas of high water. Watch for watch out for areas of dense fog. All that stuff here on your commute to work and school in the morning and everything else. But the good news is weather conditions during our Friday during the day do look better from that point of view. And again, once I wake up here in a few hours here about mid-morning, I will check the latest model runs out and put out a forecast update at that time. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and hope you all have a great rest safe of your night, and stay tuned for further updates.